is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 987 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. We are back once again, and I have with us in the studio today my two co-hosts. Introduce yourself, please, first.
Hi, everyone. I am Alex Ayala, editor and producer here at Timcast. Great to be back in the studio, as always.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We were having a whole discussion. In fact, Brandon was just starting a discussion about whether the 1920s was worse than the 2020s.
I think that's a poll we should put up in
Can
YouTube.
you do that from
sure.
there? From there, you should go ahead and do that.
I'll
she
do that.
didn't mute her speakers.
I did not mute.
Brandon Shamer.
Yep.
All the
Yes.
producers in the house, and I messed
You were the
up
one
already.
who taught me. She was the one who left a card on my desk that said, "Don't forget to mute your sound." I learned that.
We
from
all
her.
become complacent once in a while.
I'm the worst. Okay, I'm going to put a poll up now.
Okay. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm good, man. What's up, everybody? Brandon Miner here. Podcaster, skateboarder, guy, hanger, outer. Thanks for having me back, Brett.
Yeah, of course. We were having a discussion about whether the 1920s was worse than the 2020s, and they were like, we should ask ChatGPT. But perhaps better than asking ChatGPT would be to ask our audience, which is, which one was worse, the 1920s or the 2020s. Granted, I don't think anybody in our chat is alive during the 1920s, but you never know. Maybe there's a 100-plus-year-old person in there. You never know. Guys, we've got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. So thank you for clicking on the episode. You should subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. I do want to give a heads up before we get into everything. I did last night do something I have not done in a long time. I sat down and I watched a Marvel television show. And even more rare than me sitting down and watching a Marvel television show, I finished a Marvel television show last night. I did watch I guess it's the first season, or really the only season, of Wonder Man, which I admit in my review that I can't say that I'd ever heard of the character prior to him being announced, but I have a review coming up for that will be out tonight at 7 p.m., and I think you guys will enjoy my thoughts on it, and it may give you some guidance as to whether you should check that show out. So be sure to check that out at 7 p.m., and then you can make your decision from there. I believe I kept it mostly spoiler free. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Number one, of course, being actress Odessa A'zion, who we talked about before. She's a Nepo baby in Hollywood. She's the daughter of a director and an actress.
Pamela Adlon.
Is somebody you knew?
I love Pamela Adlon.
Of course you would know who she is. She's an art house person.
I guess. Yes.
Of course.
Her show is Better Things. It was an FX show. It ran for like 5 or 6 seasons, and it's a fantastic show. So anyway, I'm a fan of Pamela Adlon. I don't know her daughter so well, although I did see Marty Supreme, and I think it's a fabulous movie.
And she's in Marty Supreme.
Supreme.
She came up recently because she was accused of blackfishing. She's a little too dark for her actual skin complexion. So she is back in the news because in lieu of people canceling her, she has decided to do what all of the people in Hollywood who have no spine do. She just went and canceled herself. She fired herself from a job because they hired her for a brand new A24 movie that's coming out. If you want to go and see something like an A24 movie, I don't know why you would.
I will.
I know you would, but it's called Deep Cuts, and apparently she was cast to play a character named Zoe who has Mexican and Jewish heritage, and she herself is not Mexican, so she's like, and then she just jumped off the bridge herself and got herself removed from the movie for woke points, I guess. We're going back to 2018, it looks like. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about a growing number of protests from Hollywood people who are complaining about ICE. I put this topic off, but the examples, they just keep piling up. So we're going to dunk on that. We might get Brandon to sing a little Bruce Springsteen for us live in studio. He might do it. Well, maybe if we ask politely, he will sing Streets of Minneapolis for the audience.
Alex might be better suited to sing Springsteen with her intimate knowledge of the raspy voice.
Oh, no, I will not deprive you of the chance.
What you guys missed it, I referred to Springsteen fans as Springsteen.
Teenagers.
Teenagers. That's what it was. Teenagers. That's what they are.
You're allowed to hate Bruce Springsteen every bit as much as I hate Bob Dylan. So we're going to talk about
Fair
that.
enough.
All of the various celebrities. It's like John Leguizamo, Ice-T, ironic, Bruce Springsteen, We've got Lady Gaga. There's a whole bunch of them. So we're going to talk about it. Also, Sydney Sweeney stays winning in Hollywood. I see tweets all the time. They're like, she's trying to speed run the finish, the cancellation of her career. Well, she has now been in her highest grossing movie of all time for her, which is The Housemaid, on top of the fact that her lingerie line, which she just dropped by doing a very, very blatant publicity stunt at the Hollywood sign, sold out in like a couple of hours. So we're going to get into all of those details. Also, the Melania Trump documentary is out, and it looks like it was an absolute disaster to work on. So we will laugh a little bit at that, and we're gonna talk about Spencer Pratt, who is now running for mayor.
Yep.
Right. He's running for mayor of Los Angeles, and bad news just keeps coming out. He got into it with like the Nelk boys at one point. I think they had like a miscommunication. Now he's got a book coming out which details him selling private photos of, I believe it was Mary Kate Olsen, right? It was
Yep, that's
Ashley.
right.
Yeah, it was Mary Kate Olsen back so that he could start his career by selling photos to tabloids. It's harkens back to a different time in Hollywood when those things could be done. I suppose now you can't actually sell photos. You just sell them digitally.
Yeah.
You just take it with your cell phone and you go. So if you guys are ready, we can just go ahead and get started because we got a lot of stuff to get into. Alex, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Brandon?
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and talk about Odessa A'zion. I know it's not pronounced that way, but there's like a show which uses the name A'zion, and it looks like A'zion to me. Again, as we said before, she is a Nepo baby in Hollywood. She is the daughter of an actress that Alex knows.
Pamela Adlon from Better Things.
And a director. So she's already had her foothold in Hollywood. She was in the recent movie Marty Supreme, and I don't know if she got a whole lot of praise for that. All that praise is going to, I almost called him Timothy Oliphant, to Timothy Chalamet. And now that was done, she got offered a role in a brand new movie from A24 called Deep Cuts, which is based on a book, from what I understand, from like last year, because they don't even wait 10 years for a book to be out now.
But go ahead. But it's so weird though that it doesn't say anything about heritage and the breakdown of what this book is about.
No. So so it's a coming of age love story in the 2000s about these two characters that are obsessed with music, and honestly a love story and some rom-coms is I think what Hollywood needs. I don't think that A24 is the studio that needs to be making them. I think they will try too hard to be deep and meaningful.
So
and,
what? Hello Sunshine should be doing it
Oh,
instead.
Yeah. No, I want a big budget studio to make it, okay? So she was supposed to play a character named Zoe Gutierrez who had Mexican and Jewish ancestry, and she quit over the backlash to her character. This is what she said. I'm going to put it up on screen so everybody can see it. This was her post. She bent the knee very, very quickly. She said, this was on Instagram. It says, "Thank you guys for bringing this to my attention. I agree with every single one of you. This is why I love you guys." She's literally like, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Because I am so sorry that this happened. It is so important for me to let you in on how it all went down. I went in for Percy, but was offered Zoe instead and instantly said yes. I'm so pissed, y'all. I hadn't read the book and should have paid more attention to all aspects of Zoe before accepting. And now now that I know what I know, fuck it, I'm out. I'd never take a role from someone else who's meant to do it. He says, that should do it. That's not me. Oh, she said, that should do it. That's not me. There are a plentitude. Is plentitude a word?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, somebody
Hang on,
fact
let me
check.
verify that.
Somebody,
Yeah, hang
if
on,
it
I
is
could be
good
wrong.
for her, it was like her word of the day. There are a plentitude of people more than capable of playing this role, and I am not one of them. I can't wait to see who it ends up being. And then she put a little heart.
I think
It
she
is an
meant-
accepted English noun.
But I think
Okay.
she meant to say plenitude.
Plentiful? That wouldn't have worked either in that sentence.
Plentitude,
It's a word.
with the root
Okay.
word being plenty. Yeah, it is meaning a large, abundant amount or fullness.
I wonder if she, like, when she got done, she's like, yeah.
I'm sure she had
one-
someone like read
That one
this.
sounded really good. So here's the funny thing about this situation. There are a bunch of different takes, and I'll give you the general breakdown of what those are. The first one being the people in the chat who go, you know what? She did the right thing. That's just self-sabotage. Whenever there is a race swap of a character, never blame the actor, and I never do. Whether it's a black guy who gets hired to play a white role, or a white guy who gets hired to play a black character, which is less common these days, but still happens. Or as we know, a redhead that gets replaced by a black actor. Don't blame the actor. They're just trying to make a living. Like they're like in an industry like Hollywood, where you're basically scraping and living on hope to get by, you don't have the luxury of turning down roles. No, the person you hold responsible is the director, the executive producers, the people in charge of actually making the movie, whose job it is to keep it authentic to whatever the original portrayal was supposed to be. So if they race swapped Severus Snape in Harry Potter, which of course they did for the upcoming television show, don't blame the actor. Actor just wants to make a living. Blame the director, the showrunner, the executives at HBO who are making the show and allowed this, the casting agent. And it's coming up now because they're really mad. Did you read Wuthering Heights?
I didn't read it, no.
Have you? Okay. Me neither. Shocking, right? Apparently Jacob Elordi's character is like Romani, I think. And he, of course, is not. So people are very mad at him for taking the role when he should have, I guess, passed on it in a dignified manner. I hate that idea. I do. I think that the actors should just take the work that they can get and not, because people usually, when people on the other side of the aisle will not complain when it's a black actor taking a white role, because they'll say, look, we need more representation. And I don't follow that logic. My logic is you're out to make a buck. You're out to make a living. You don't just do this. I hate the lie that a lot of them tell you, which is that it's all about the art. No, you want to make a living. You want to actually have a career. Okay, and you're not always going to get to be picky about what that looks like.
Well, a great example of that, I think, is the fact that she was offered Zoe and claims to have instantly said yes, but then goes on to say that she should have actually looked into the character more before she accepted the role. Who the hell goes out for a character role that they have no idea what they're playing?
But that's
is that regular?
I would imagine that you don't have the luxury of being picky with all that stuff.
You're taking what you can get.
The other thing that people were saying is she should have read the book first. It's never enough. It will never be enough for the people that are complaining, and it feels like we're backsliding in a way to what it was like in 2018 when these actors were absolutely terrified of their shadow and would acquiesce to what anybody online said because they didn't want to get any backlash whatsoever. You could make the claim that it bothers her more because she's already gotten those claims of blackfishing because they said she's wearing too much tanner. She doesn't look like she is. And then she gets, and a lot of people hate her just because she's Jewish. And there's plenty of people online who just for the sake of complaining about it will complain about it for that reason. But blame the producers.
This actually doesn't surprise me so much though, because her mother, Pamela Adlon, is actually, as much as I love her as an artist, is actually pretty outspoken about these kinds of topics, which we're going to talk about with ICE. Just about wokeness and just being on the right side of history. I mean, I don't know which way you want to put it.
Gosh, I haven't heard that.
She is an activist. She'll be one of the first to post things, on the liberal side of things. So
I could have actually. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a preview because like I said, I just did my Wonder Man review. So I actually could have given her an out on this just by watching Wonder Man last night in the show. So if you guys don't know what Wonder Man is, it's based in the TV show. The main character wants to play Wonder Man, who is a superhero in a movie in the 80s in the show. And he loved the movie growing up because him and his dad went to see it. It was a very important part of his childhood. Now he wants to go play Wonder Man because he's an actor now that he's grown up. He's a struggling actor. And Yahya Abdul-Mateen is black, and the guy who played it in the 1980s version in universe is white, and it's never brought up that it's a race swap. They do mention the term updated for modern audiences, but he doesn't seem to hold himself responsible for trying to take on a role that wasn't originally portrayed by somebody who looked like him, as he shouldn't. Guy just wants to make a living.
I'm actually surprised she didn't quit because she's wearing a wig.
That was another thing. So the other thing that they were talking about was she got in trouble because she was on the red carpet and they mentioned something about wigs and she's like, I can't afford that.
Right.
And they're like, bro, you're from a wealthy Hollywood family.
Yeah,
everyone in your family works in the entertainment industry.
At the same time, who knows what her money situation is? Maybe her mother's like, you're going to have to make your own way, lady.
Who is it that I saw? Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, right.
He won't give his kids.
Was it Gordon Ramsay or Guy Fieri?
It was Gordon Ramsay. Guy Fieri did something similar.
Right.
Where Gordon Ramsay was like,
I'm not giving you money. You have to make it on your own.
It's going to go to dog charities. And it's so a bunch of executives are going to make huge amounts of money so they can go to expensive Airbnbs to plan for the new year of fundraising and stuff like that. Like, that's the most abhorrent thing I can think about.
Yeah.
Melissa Barrera was quoted as well. I just found this right before we went live. It says, today Melissa Barrera, if you don't know who Melissa Barrera was, she was in the Scream movies. She was unceremoniously removed from the last Scream movie because of her support of Palestine, and that was a whole controversy in and of itself. But today Melissa Barrera posted on her Instagram about the needs for representation and the erasure of it in Hollywood. This is most likely due to Odessa A'zion's accepting of a role that was meant to be Mexican, even though she has no Latin roots whatsoever. And I made a tweet beforehand. I said, when they make the Tubi movie about me, I preemptively give them permission to cast whoever they want. And the only caveat is they have to have good hair.
Or Glenn Powell.
They have to, they cast Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell's got good hair. It's like, look, if they want to cast a black guy, fine. If they want to cast an Asian guy, fine. They just have to have fantastic hair. So if it's like, if it's a black guy,
does it have to be real hair?
He can, if they want to give me an afro, they can give me an afro. Or if they want to give me like slicked back evil villain hair, they can do that. It just can't, he can't be balding, and he can't be and he can't have like the part down the middle.
What if they cast like Idris Elba and they just put like a wig on him?
Perfect. And like if they want to be tall, that if they want to cast a tall guy, I'm not going to discriminate.
I could honestly see them casting Morgan Freeman for him,
That's
just with
perfect.
his baby smooth voice. You know?
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, I mean, me and Morgan Freeman have like, our voices are like antithetical to one another. His is very like calming, and mine is very hyperactive.
Okay, but what about the age gap?
That's fine. Look, it's fine. We'll de-age him.
It's like you in the future.
Yeah.
We have the technology now to like make you look like you were 12 again. They use it all the time to make these people look like. Look what it did for Michael Douglas.
We will do so. Oh, by the way, I'm seeing with the super chats, guys. I will be triggering the crisis meter manually. We're still waiting for Chris to get that fixed, so we will have to do that. But Glenn Powell can play me, absolutely. Like I'm not quite that tall, but that would be fantastic. This is what Melissa Barrera said. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. So she says the conversation about representation. Let me make sure I have it there. About representation has always been misunderstood by many, especially people outside of the industry. So this is for you. She's speaking to us right now, guys. It's acting, some will say. Actors should be able to play roles that are unlike them, including different ethnicities. She says yes and no. For the longest time, the only people that had access or were given opportunities to create were white people. And so white creators would write stories about white characters with maybe some POC side characters. Makes sense, and no shade to that. People should write about their own experiences. And I also love white people. Some of y'all are really cool.
That's great.
What the fuck, man?
But yes, shade, because unfortunately, that meant that POC were shut down out of the industry. Here's the thing, though. That's actually not true anymore, because now what they say is you can only write what you know, but simultaneously, they'll say that we need to write these characters differently because we need to reach a different demographic. So she's not being completely honest there. For the longest time, even the POC side characters in white stories were played by white actors because white actors would be the ones with access, and because racism. And therefore, they were the ones that became working actors, and that became the norm. Eventually, the powers that be started to realize that they had an untapped market, because let's face it, it's all about the money. Or maybe they were pressured into it because times were changing, but that really hit. All people want is to see themselves represented, and also just telling stories about white people is, well, after a certain point, boring and not a reflection of the world, let alone the USA. Here's the problem, though. You don't go... When I was watching Wonder Man, they're going into all of these in-depth ways in which actors try to access the character and their backstory. They're not saying, like, white guy. Like they're looking for the or black guy. They're looking for the, you know, what they love to talk about is the pretentious way in which they talk about, they want to find the truth of the character. What was his trauma? What was his personality? Did how he grow up affect how he is? And in the show, they're like, yeah, this is like a 2-second scene where you ask somebody like what their order is. I don't know if like his historical trauma really matters. It's just it's a lesson, and it's kind of an ode to narcissism to think this deeply about it. And most of the people who grew up, who are my age, I'm 39, the actors that you loved, it rarely had anything to do with that. And the shining examples is like, look how many people on both sides on the right side of the aisle were excited about the idea of Rush Hour 4, which I still am. excited about.
Was that? Do you know anything about the there was word on the street that President Trump himself had put out a request, or even a demand, rather, that they move forward with the production of said movie.
He's friends with the Ellisons, who own Paramount.
So Trump is calling for a Rush Hour 4.
Yeah. So I want to know whether it matters that, Yahya Abdul-Mateen plays Wonder Man, despite the fact that the character canonically was not. I don't think that it matters. I watched the show. It was fantastic. It didn't have anything to do with it. They actually made the point in the show of, they went back to what they used to do in Hollywood, which is they use his power set, which is basically when he gets mad, he can't control it, and he can like he'll destroy a room if he gets angry. And they use it as a allegory for feeling different and feeling like you don't fit in. It doesn't get heavy-handed and say it's because of his family's Creole heritage or because he didn't fit in with other kids in school because of racism. It was about something more than that. Now, were there racial elements to that layered in? Perhaps. I mean, the effort to make the culture around his family appear authentic was there. But did that bother me? No. They race swapped the character, and I didn't really care. And if you do, you don't blame the actor for it. You blame the producers and the writers because they don't know how to tell a story that's authentic to what the actual character was supposed to be. So they're reaching for the largest audience. Marvel now knows that the largest audience they can find isn't the people who read the comics obsessively and know every detail of this character and then we'll pick it apart. It's normies who will tune in and not really question it. Many, many people still don't realize that Nick Fury was a race-swapped character because Samuel L. Jackson is such an iconic actor, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it doesn't play a role.
There is kind of like almost like a stigma behind that, too, because, no one had a problem with that. I mean, we brought up Morgan Freeman not that long ago. How many times has he played a president, in movies? Like Olympus Has Fallen, stuff like that. Dude's badass. No one cares.
Those are fictional characters, so it's
absolutely okay. So I guess it doesn't. It still kind of applies.
It's not based. I shouldn't say fictional characters because they're always fictional characters.
Right.
He's not playing a character that was written
historically, right? Because this is obviously before Barack. A lot of these movies too, but the idea was still there that a black man could be president one day, and this is what it looks like, and no one really cared. You know, I mean, there were some people I feel like more on the racist side that were probably, oh, fuck this, you can't be a black president, but like. There's still kind of that element there, I feel like, in some of these cases now, where you're just like, okay, like Snow White should be a white girl,
I mean,
and it's
but here's the thing. Most people will tell you that because of the historical nature of that, it's what is it? Is it Germanic or whatever that character's from? That matters to them, and that's fine. But don't blame the actress. You should hold the studio accountable when it fails. The reasons to hate Rachel Zegler with Snow White had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with her disrespect for the history of the character and her dismissal of people's complaints.
Yeah, she was kind of a dick about it.
Now, if Yahya Abdul-Mateen had complained. And said, like, the fans don't accept me because of the color of my skin, because this character was portrayed differently, that would have, started a whole nother discussion that might have harmed the show. Granted, Marvel dumped the whole show all at once, and they didn't seem to have a whole lot of faith in it to begin with. But it's the point of the matter is that I think in this case, she canceled herself for no reason. She should have been steadfast and just taken the acting role, because there's only so many of them out there.
Yeah, I mean, she was cast for a reason. I would love to know if the author of the book had anything to do with the casting as well.
Well, this is like with the Odessa thing. You think that they did this on purpose for image? Or do you think these people were like genuinely upset with themselves internally with the fact that they made these decisions?
Do you think she was? Are you asking if she was internally?
Yeah. Do you think that they dropped out of these roles or canceled themselves on purpose because of their personal feelings or because of their public image?
PR, public image.
Are you using pronouns, Brandon?
Yes.
Sorry.
All right.
Whoops.
That's how you confused us all a little bit over here.
Whoops.
We have more to get into, guys. Let's talk about the growing number of Hollywood protests that are going on right now. Obviously, with everything that happened that took place in Minnesota, it's led to a lot of people speaking out against ICE and immigration enforcement. I did a video the other day on celebrities deleting their TikToks because TikTok is getting unbelievably censorious when it comes to posting anything about ICE, be it good or bad. So you saw Gracie Abrams deleted her TikTok. Some other people deleted their TikTok. Now we've got all of these other celebrities. And like I said, just like the Odessa segment, it feels like we have been rolled back to the year 2018 where we're starting to hear doozies of lines like this from John Leguizamo, who says, if you follow ICE, unfollow me, don't come to my shows, don't watch my movies. Anybody who followed like the comics drama of like the late 2010s knows that that's what it was all about. It was like, if you don't like me, don't buy my books. And that's where we're back to right now, where these guys are saying like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I've made my money already. And the producers over here are like, could you please not say that? Like, we spent a lot of money to make this movie. I like Tim's response. He says, joke's on you. I just watched John Wick and enjoyed it. Checkmate. Like, that's been my take all along, is like, your stupid attitude can't prevent me from liking something.
Yeah, that's
like,
it's so unfortunate. He said that. I love John Leguizamo too. So that's
you got a
too
favorite
bad.
movie of his?
Not necessarily a movie. His comedy specials are a riot. They're so good. The Past, yeah, of course. What? Oh, do you have our Tu Wong Fu?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Thanks
in
for
that.
everything.
Yeah, great in that.
But it's funny Tim mentioned John Wick, because that was like a revitalization for him. I really liked him in Violent Night. I thought that was a lot of fun. And then he is, of course, one of the whinier celebrities, where he's always talking about how Hispanic actors only get villain roles. It's obviously not true. And then he said that and then did a villain role in Violent Night. I'm like, okay, so you're not even standing on business with any of this. And then also here, Ariana Grande has come out and is called for an ICE out. She endorses a nationwide ICE protest involved not working, not attending school, or not shopping. That's for tomorrow, guys. I'm sure the leftists will have no problem not working.
I'm surprised she didn't put in and not eating.
And not.
Is she gonna give me a?
You can, however,
I don't even know what the hell
Wicked.
to call this.
Don't eat a hamburger, anybody.
Can I get a version of a doctor's note signed by Ariana Grande that says that I have the ability to not come into work tomorrow?
I would love that. I mean, like, do you think anybody's doing that? Like, you see so many of these videos now where people have TikToks and they're like HR managers at companies, and they're nuts and they're hyper political. That you got to lean into that now. You find out your boss is like hyper political, you don't care at all, but you're like, you know what? I'm protesting tomorrow, and she's like, okay, you don't have to come into work.
I mean, seriously, like, if you have the social outreach that some of these people have that are calling for these mass things with absolutely no authority whatsoever,
Yeah.
you know, like, I'm sorry, but you give me a note saying stay home tomorrow that I can take to work and put on my boss's desk. I have no problem taking tomorrow off. I'm not going to have anything to do with the shit that she's asking for, but I'll take the day off since you're openly calling for everyone to just not show up to life tomorrow.
I think my favorite out of all of these is Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is complaining about ICE in Japan, of all places, which has unbelievably strict immigration policies and doesn't think too fondly of the American tourists many times. You know, the signs that are written in Japanese where it's like you can only come in if you know how to read the sign on the door, otherwise stay out. She says, my heart is aching thinking about the people, the children, and the families all over America who are being mercilessly targeted by ICE. Like I said, doing so while you're in a foreign country is a whole nother level of like disconnection from understanding the issue at hand. Thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not surprising. Everyone's just jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, she had to say something. It doesn't matter where she was going to be.
But the thing
It
is,
kind of does, though, a little bit, doesn't it?
it does
Not
matter
to
where
Lady
you are.
Gaga.
I mean, maybe not to her because she's kind of she's grandfathered.
She can say whatever
into-
she- yeah,
can say
she
whatever she wants.
I guess not personally, but in a sense of like the message actually having some kind of a substance. Like, wouldn't you want to do it on American soil?
Yeah,
Well, she will. I mean, she will when she comes back.
Yeah.
Like, nobody believes that. Like, you got to
But like,
strike
would
while
you?
the iron's hot.
Okay, so I guess from this angle, would you debut something like that in a foreign country and be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this when I get back to America too? But like, it seems like for me, at least as an artist doing live shows back in Chicago, we would save all the cool shit for the live show in Chicago. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It was like, did
Weird
you guys
move.
see the video that came out during the election where Haley Williams was reading off like a literal piece of paper complaining about Trump? Where she was like literally stopped a concert and somebody held a script up for her and she's like, we have to stop Trump from enacting Project 2025. And she's like squinting at the piece of paper. It gets worse, or it gets cringier, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite accounts on X is Ice-T. I do think that Ice-T is hilarious. But Ice-T changed the lyrics from his legendary 1992 song Cop Killer to Ice Killer, which if your name is Ice-T feels like a really bad idea.
Yeah.
It's like a bad
Personally,
omen.
Yeah, during a recent performance, it says, rapper Ice-T, the longtime star of NBC's Law & Order SVU, and one of the most mimetic people in the world with the meme that says, I've got news for you. That means you're gay. He changed the lyrics from Cop Killer to Ice Killer during a live performance because he fears that America is headed to some really ugly terrain. It says, I have political things I think about. Now when I did that didn't happen just recently. It happened when we played in LA at the Warped Tour. When I was there, ICE was active out there. So it was like I'm in the midst of ICE raids and stuff like that, and I'm in front of an LA audience, and it just came out. I didn't know I was going to do it. He just kind of threw it out there. He said, my brain just said, do Ice Killer, and it went over. The report stated that Ice-T maintained whether he says Cop Killer or Ice Killer, that the message is the same. He says that the song's purpose is that I'm just protesting and thus seeking to object to immigrations and customs enforcement, working to arrest illegal aliens, many with criminal records. This is like their editorialization of that now. We're basically saying that he's protesting because he doesn't want them to stop criminal illegal aliens from being deported, even if they've got criminal records and stuff like that.
Yeah, the more respectable thing would be drop the ice, keep it, just
Yes.
keep the tea.
Yeah, I don't care what he says, man. This is another artist point of view thing. That Ice Killer shit was premeditated.
Think so?
Absolutely 100%. That's not, you don't just go out on stage to a shit ton of people. You don't go out on stage to a small ton of people and just, oh yeah, I'm going to go off the cuff and say some stupid ass shit tonight, but I don't know what it's going to be. You know, if you're going to make a statement, even political or something like that, chances are likely you're going to rehearse this in the dressing room a couple of times beforehand to make sure you don't screw it up live, because it's going to be televised. A bunch of people are going to see it. It might get talked about, picked up in some kind of, bite, by some news organization.
I do love the comment here. No, not the white black guy.
What? Leave Ice-T
Kinda funny,
alone.
made me
Is
laugh.
that still a thing?
Ice-T is really
suppose.
funny on X. Ice-T, like, he's one of those people that absolutely engages with the people that dunk on it, like that dunk on him. He dunks on them right back, which I always appreciate.
That's the other part is, hasn't he played a cop a bunch of times, like in his career?
That is
like,
so the fact that he's played a cop on Law & Order for like a gazillion seasons is absolutely hilarious. It's like they can do it for that long, but not because they're still being written by limousine liberal types. They don't actually understand what it is to be law enforcement.
I wonder what the thought process was going into hiring him for something like
Well, I
that.
mean-
Like, oh, who better to play a cop than a guy who wants to kill cops and sings about it regularly in his songs?
This was something that started happening a lot post George Floyd, where the shows about law enforcement, especially on network television, became weirdly self-hating, where suddenly they're like ashamed of their jobs and, actually doing what they're supposed to do because the writers themselves are not law enforcement. Therefore, they wrote the characters to have a bias against what their characters themselves are doing for a living, which makes no sense whatsoever. He went on, he says, I think we're headed to some really ugly terrain and black people really ain't got nothing to do with it. It's bad. I think the moment somebody shoots an ICE agent, it's going to get bad. I can tell you it's going to get worse. Do you want to know why? Because Bruce Springsteen wrote a song.
Oh, cue Brandon.
Yes.
The Steenagers.
Bruce Springsteen releases anti-ICE protest song, Streets of Minneapolis. Even then, he has a song that's called like, what is it, like
Streets of Jersey?
Streets of Fire, or so like something like that. He's like, or City on Fire, or City of Fire. He's like, he's very one note in his naming of things. I have to look that up.
City of Ruins?
City of Ruins. This is like Streets of Minneapolis. It's not the most creative title I've ever heard in my entire life. Far left rocker Bruce Springsteen has released a new anti-ICE, anti-Trump protest song entitled Streets of Minneapolis that praises insurrectionist protesters and calls the president King Trump. He ramps up the hyperbolic and hateful rhetoric in the song. For instance, he calls ICE occupiers and thugs and calls the president King Trump while praising the violent anti-ICE protesters as citizens standing for justice who are being gunned down by ICE. Brandon, you should sing us some lyrics.
I don't do it raspy enough for Alex's
You gotta do
taste.
it.
You can do it.
I gotta be raspy. Well, here's the thing. I mean, are we gonna get yanked and demonetized for?
For you singing?
Oh yeah, exactly.
No, you'll be fine.
It's not my song.
Well, it's
you can
commentary.
sing it.
It's commentary.
That's actually kind of like crazy that you think that you're so good it's gonna catch it with the content idea.
Dude,
That
I'm
means
so
you
worried
should
about
do
it. I'm the most pro. No, I'm a drummer. I don't sing.
You don't sing?
I do not sing. I have shied away from singing for a very, very long time because I am just absolutely horrendous at it. I'm so tone deaf.
And then so beyond that, this is why I like all of these were literally like one right after the other, right after the other. A lot of times when I'm like looking for a topic, it's like you need more than just the initial story. There's got to be something to supplement it. And all of these are coming out one right after the other. We have this now from actor Giancarlo Esposito. Of course, most people know him from Breaking Bad, but he's been a legend in Hollywood for decades, calling for open revolution. Let's listen to what he has to say.
This is time for a revolution. It's time for it. And they
Can you imagine like wearing those glasses and looking like that and like calling for revolution?
don't even know that's what they're starting. You know, some very rich old white men.
Is he wearing an ascot or is that like?
Well, I always wear an ascot when I'm calling for a revolution.
I mean, talk about a black guy looking white.
Very rich old white men are exerting their power to suppress our own people, thus creating a feeling of civil war in the streets, preparing the haters to hate, teaching them how to shoot. They're not even trained right, to kill. This is all a preparation for a very insidious problem that's happening in our world. And for me, I have to speak out that we will not be iced out.
He said it.
I mean, he's pretty well spoken, though, I gotta say.
This is not going to happen. They can't take us all down. If the whole world showed up on Putin's doorstep or on the Iranians' doorstep or in Washington.
Does he know that, like, in the rest of the world, having strong borders is matter of course and is just totally normal to, like, protect your sovereignty?
It would they'll kill 550 million, however, but the rest of us would survive with a new. This is time for a revolution. It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting.
I wonder if he gets done and he's like, fuck. I hate having to do this shit.
But we have to be strong enough to know.
I think that all interviewers in Hollywood hate actors, like, with a passion and love to make them say stuff that they know is going to cause them
guaranteed.
problems. Like, if I was the angriest person you know is, like, the Variety reporter who sees some actor who's got this great life and they're stuck here doing Hollywood interviews and they're just like, so what do you think about this controversial topic? Say something stupid. Say something stupid!
Yeah,
I mean,
but how many times do you think they just go back to the trailer afterwards and just face palm after they've done an interview because they're just like, oh my god.
I was gonna say, you know, he's sitting at home, getting ready, putting on his hat, you know, working it all out. He's like, and now I will say it's time for a revolution. He throws his scarf back and
Premeditation, right there. It's a very similar thing. Like, I do think people do go off the cuff. I do think people go off the cuff. But
Yeah,
for the
actors.
most part, when you're like, oh man, I'm going to be in front of cameras today, I should say something insanely outspoken that's going to get picked up and do something for my numbers. Their PR guys are probably ramping it up.
What if he ever does the classic actor line where, like, some, like, actual, like, far left Marxist agitator comes up to him and is like, you ready to start the revolution? He's like, well, I'm not really a revolutionary, but I played one on TV once.
right.
Okay.
Phil's coming for you.
Yes. Look, guys, as we've always said, I don't use any of this as a reason to not go watch movies and television. People in general, they say stupid things. I believe, my personal opinion, that you should take art in Hollywood, because all of it is commercialized anyways. It is a business transaction between you and them. None of the stupid dreck that I just heard him say makes him any less good of an actor. They can still be very good at their job, like I said. What John Leguizamo said will not make me hate watching John Wick. What Giancarlo Esposito just said will not make me hate any of the things that he has been in that I've enjoyed, of which there are many. Was he in Jericho? I can't remember if he was in Jericho. The point being, you have to look at it as a business transaction. If you want to be entertained, you oftentimes have to separate the art from the artist. And it's one of the only ways to stay sane when horrible events like this happen in Minneapolis, which leads to people speaking out. One, because a certain amount of them, while they may actually believe what they're saying, that is only a portion of it. And many of them are just talking about this stuff because it's what they're supposed to be talking about, and they don't care one way or the other. Just my thoughts on it. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to somebody who goes the complete opposite direction when it comes to talking about their politics most of the time. And that is, of course, Sydney Sweeney. Despite the fact that people keep saying that Sydney Sweeney is trying to speed run the cancellation of her own career, she seems to be doing nothing in Hollywood but winning repeatedly.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure she's doing the exact opposite.
Yes, she is absolutely doing the exact opposite. Right now, The Housemaid crosses $300 million at the box office, overtaking Anyone But You as Sydney Sweeney's highest grossing film of all time, thus proving that the actual problem was lesbian boxing movies. That is actually what people don't care about. It's not Sydney Sweeney. I know you're all shocked to hear that, but it is true. The Housemaid has sliced through $300 million at the global box office, which is a major milestone for the mid-budget movie. So far, the R-rated psychological thriller starring Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried has earned $116 million domestically and a particularly impressive $189.1 million internationally, bringing its global tally to $305 million. It also calls into question whether Paul Feig is actually the worst director in the world, given the fact that Ghostbusters 2016 was garbage. But maybe he was just miscast as the director for that film. I guess that leans in to answer the question. Lionsgate spent just $35 million to produce The Housemaid, which means it's wildly profitable for the studio. The film opened ahead of Christmas with a modest $19 million in North America. That is the key, by the way, guys. Gone are the days, in my personal opinion, where the strong opening weekend box office is your indicator of success. That was true in the front-loaded Marvel days when Marvel was killing it at the box office with every movie. They made a whole bunch of their money in the opening weekend. Now what you're seeing with movies like Avatar or Top Gun Maverick or even some other films that have come out recently, it's more about having a decent opening weekend and then strong holds week after week to build up strong word of mouth, which gets you more revenue. And Sydney Sweeney is the perfect person to cast in those roles because she is staying in the public eye all the time. On top of this movie now becoming her biggest film of all time for her, of course, passing Anyone But You with Glenn Powell, she also just launched her brand new lingerie brand, which of course started with a viral marketing stunt where she somehow broke into the Hollywood sign and strung bras up all over the sign, which of course reeked of paid publicity and fake it till you make it. Didn't seem realistic at all. I don't think anybody buys that she was like a cat burglar sneaking onto the property. Not after all the research that I did, seeing about just how many security measures there actually are at the Hollywood sign. But the stunt seems to have paid off every bit as well as her most recent movie has done so, because it looks like the brand siren's first line sold out within hours of launch. Fans expressed disbelief and excitement online, calling it a cultural moment. I did see some people saying like this is because she was posting videos in the new garments and they were like, she's gonna make $1 billion off this deal. It also underlines her ability to do what everyone in Hollywood needs to do, which is find the right people to work with. She's dating Scooter Braun. I don't know if anybody buys that she's actually attracted to him, but he is a very, very rich man with many, many connections in Hollywood. She also ended up at Jeff Bezos' wedding with Lauren Sanchez, and you wonder, like, do these people actually know each other?
Well, she better just keep Scooter Braun. What is his name? Scooter
Braun.
Yeah, him out of her contract. So I'll say that.
Yeah, well, but no, he has been vindicated since then.
Well, I mean, she did well with the bathwater, and she did well with the jeans, right?
I forgot about the that was like the Dr. Squash or whatever, stuff like that.
I think that sold out right away too.
She's a marketing genius. I do feel like
sex sells.
We have well, and maybe that's the point, right? Is that we live in an age now where the way in which sex is marketed to people. We just did a video the other day about Olivia Wilde talking about why Gen Z hates sex scenes so much, and her logic was, she said that they don't like it because it's unrealistic.
I think it's just that they're uncomfortable.
Yes. I was like, so what's your logic is that you're showing too much like weird porno-esque sex and not enough people who have been married for 30 years where they only have sex on holidays and weekends. Like nobody wants to watch that movie either. Maybe they're just sick of watching TV with their friends and family and then all of a sudden they drop a sex scene and they're like, okay, this is awkward. Sydney Sweeney sells an idea more than she sells the actual sex scenes, which she did do back in the days of Euphoria. But the stuff that she sells as far as a brand is different because she's selling an image, she's selling an aesthetic, she's selling an idea. And I think the best way that you can kind of look at that is people thought that after she after she kind of apologized for the jeans ad, which of course wasn't an apology. It was like a half-hearted, like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't want anybody to hate anybody.
But I also don't care.
But I also don't.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought that that was going to kill the momentum she has garnered as like she's kind of a right-wing cultural icon, despite the fact that she's not what you would call inherently right-wing, even though she's a registered Republican.
Yeah, I don't think she placed herself there. I think she ended up there.
Yes.
And she was just kind of like, fuck it.
I think she has more of a blasé attitude about everything, honestly.
Well, sure, but it's like in that sense, Sydney Sweeney could be selling seashells down by the seashore.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
They're going to
People
sell.
buy it. You're right.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
But I also always wonder about this, like when Kim Kardashian puts out Skims and it's like, you know, a furry thong, you know, whatever it is. Like, how much is actually being sold?
well, I mean, so this is actually something they do in the literary world. Like publishers will buy copies of their own books to get it on the New York Times bestseller, because the best way you can market your book is to be able to put on the jacket New York Times bestseller.
Right. So
now,
is there only 100 bras? They all got sold, and now it's like
I called into question whether her jeans ad actually moved merchandise, but later it was proved that it did absolutely move merchandise for her. So she is a proven commodity within the industry, and now she's coming back for Euphoria season 3, which actually feels like she's walking herself back to old territory. It's almost like she didn't.
It's perfect.
You think?
I think it's perfect.
Are you excited about it?
I cannot wait for Euphoria.
What's what are you looking forward to?
I mean, the whole show is brilliant.
Tell people why, because I think that's actually probably a unique take for her.
Just from the writing, directing, acting, like the cinematography, you could probably call it a titillating show. So it may not be for you, but I don't care about that kind of stuff. So for me, it's just about the storytelling, and I'm really excited to bring it back. I saw the trailer. I think it's going to be great. I mean, Jacob Elordi and Sydney Sweeney are like together, and it just kind of leaves off where it ended. So
I have actually changed my position on sex scenes. So my opinion was that I've never liked them. I don't want to watch them, but I can understand the idea that there may be a story that is so well written that a actor or a director or a writer would consider it necessary. Mm-hmm. I no longer buy that anymore.
Yeah.
I actually believe that if it's done right, you can convey everything that you need to without showing it. Now, that's not on moral grounds. It's literally just like I fast forward through it because I don't care and I don't want to see it. Like, and I believe that these days, as Gen Z is bearing out, that's becoming increasingly the more common position, and that what you're seeing is Hollywood, which is full of degenerate people in the industry. I don't think anybody looks at the Safdie brothers story that we covered yesterday and doesn't think that there's plenty of degenerates in Hollywood, but they do seem to have an affinity for putting this stuff to screen, despite the fact that it is a growing consensus that people want to see less of it. Now, I think that there's a divide there on generation. I think there's a generational gap there where it seems like the millennial writers and creators in Hollywood like it, and the Gen Z ones, whether it's because they're not actually developing real world relationships, they don't want to see it. Some of the other things they were saying is like they don't even want to see romantic relationships at all, even without sex scenes. They would rather see stories about friend groups or platonic relationships, and that might be more indicative of a real world explanation as to why they feel that way, because romantic relationships aren't their lived experience, so it doesn't ring true to them.
Or it makes them feel uncomfortable because it's something they don't have.
Yeah, so it's like you feel like you're looking at something. It's like they're mocking you. Yeah, in a way.
Well, I don't have superpowers, but if I watch, a Marvel,
those
movie,
are power fantasies, though. Okay. That's different. So
fantasy.
the point of a superhero for men is very much the same as when you watch a movie about somebody in special forces, which is. Or Taken with Liam Neeson, the CIA guy. It is the fantasy of what's up?
I'm laughing. I just got pictures of Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
I'm going
it's
to kill you.
It's the fantasy of unbelievable prowess and the ability to act in any situation and achieve your goal.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, there are
being a Gerard Butler in any situation.
Hyper competency is the male power fantasy.
Yeah.
The idea that you're going to stop the terrorist on the plane.
Yeah, you're going to overcome all of the odds and get it done, and you might be at like 10% HP by the end of the entire thing. But you're going to limp out of there and smoke a cigarette and say, I did it, and then you're going to go back to your life. That's the hero way.
The romantic thing is a little bit different. I think it hits to a different part of the brain. There might be more like it, but that's also something they've talked about, the way they write male characters and female characters in the superhero genre. When they show you a male superhero and he's jacked to the gills, clearly on steroids, and he just looks like a specimen, men are like, got to go to the gym, got to work out. When women are shown that, they want to know why the woman doesn't look like them. They want to know why the beauty standard is so high, why she has such an unattainable level of physical appearance. Meanwhile, dorky Camille Nanjiani has an 8-pack and is jacked to the gills, and you're like, okay, guys are like, if the actor can do it, then I should be able to. And even then, men will sometimes fight about it, where guys are like, well, you know, he's an actor, he's paid to get in shape. But men in general on mass won't want to take excuses. They'll say, well, that's no excuse. You might not be able to look just like him, but you should take your own health into your own hands, and that's your responsibility, which is why men see superheroes as something to aspire to rather than something they want pulled down to their level. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at least that's how it's always been to me. Like, I've never looked at, like, when not Christian Bale, but when like Ben Affleck comes out of the fire in like his first appearance as Batman, and he looks almost like the Hulk. You're just like, huh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, but also like maybe just give us a Batman sex scene. I mean,
let's not.
Why not?
They did that. They showed Bruce Wayne's dick in a comic. I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's a thing. But thankfully they didn't do that in any of the movies.
That is, yes, we were very lucky about
Although there was one, if I'm remembering correctly, there was one movie, and I can't remember if it was the Clooney or the Kilmer version, where they show when he's putting on the bat suit, there's a spot in like there she clips the belt, you know, he dons the cape, he does all this, and then he flips around, he's got a G-string.
There was also, what? I mean, there was bat nipples. There was definitely bat nipples.
They literally have a shot where his ass comes up on the screen, and there's a string, like, going from one point to the top part, and it's like, you're kind of sitting there for a second, like, why did I need to see that?
Be real. You went and searched that out, right? You were
no, I just, it was more like a PTSD thing from, like, seeing that movie in theaters as a kid, because I was just like, why the hell is Batman wearing a G-string? Like, this just ruined Batman for me.
So they also did, in Batman vs. Superman, they definitely show, like, Ben Affleck naked getting into the shower, and you're like, bro, that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, where they're like, he's like showing off the abs in the
exercise scene where he's
pulling the,
but that's
tires.
that's like him working out, and it's just like his upper body. Like,
right.
There's no reason to show.
Even in the cartoon, that's how he used to work out. Yeah. Like, just
there's a reason you to show it.
She's like, me and you are on
I'm
complete.
speaking for the ladies out there.
We're not seeing eye on this.
I mean, that's actually,
we don't have to.
That's actually true though. Now, like now, male nudity is less stigmatized than female nudity in Hollywood, because men are just like, they just kind of expect it to be the fact that most actors have to stay in really, really good shape. There was like an article written back in like Men's Fitness or something back in the 90s. I think Tom Cruise or something wrote like an op-ed where he's like, you have to be in shape. Like, this isn't the 80s anymore. Have you ever seen there's an honest trailer for Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters movie. Mm-hmm. It says like, this is what movie stars looked like in the 80s. It's like Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray, and they're all kind of flabby. No muscle tone whatsoever. That was what a movie star looked like in the 80s.
A little more realistic.
Yeah. All right. See, I need somebody who looks like me. I need a flabby, otherwise I'm not being represented on screen. That's the problem. All right. Let's do Q to the day. We do have some pets to show everybody here. Everybody likes to brag about their pets. This one is from Lisa Burke. Thank you, Lisa, for sending this in. It says, this is Phil. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Is it Catahoula? I don't know dog breeds.
I don't know.
Catahoula Pity Rescue. He's perpetually scared of everything. He really does not like bicycle helmets or boxes. He always seems to walk into the kitchen when our dishwasher automatically opens to finish drying, and he has a spastic fit. He has a white spot on his eye, and that makes it look like he is perpetually scared of everything. It fits. I love this because yesterday we had a couple people send in their pets. No names, no text, just here's my pet.
Oh,
I figure if you're going to send your pets in to be shown on the show, you should brag about them a little bit. And it does look scared in that photo.
Well, it looks like he knows he did something wrong. Like, you ever like catch your dog like going through the trash, and they just like they know, and they're like, "Oh shit, you caught me," and they're kind of just sitting there like, "What's gonna happen?"
Wasn't me.
Yeah, that's the look. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Got one more here from Heather Chancellor. Says Hercules celebrating his first birthday. My daughter, who is learning to read, saw this hat at the pet store while we were getting him his little cake. Zoom in to read it. Well, I can't zoom in on X. It says, it says crazy bitch.
No. No.
It's a very cute dog. It's a very cute dog. All right, guys.
Fantastic.
Let's move on. We have a whole bunch of stuff to get into today, and I want to thank again to everybody who's watching today. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, please, on the video, and subscribe if you are new here and you've not subscribed here yet already. We have gotten a lot of new subscribers lately, but I would love to if everybody could go ahead and like the video because it's really good for us in the algorithm. If you hit the like button, it does help YouTube know that what you want to watch is shows like ours. So you should go ahead and do that. All right. Let's talk about the Melania Trump documentary. If you didn't know that was being made, I don't blame you. But this was greenlit by Amazon quite some time ago. It is being directed by, let's just say controversial director Brett Ratner, who has a whole host of his own problems in his past. And right now, we're seeing all of these stories come out where the crew on the movie who worked for Amazon weren't given the option to even opt out. They had to work on it, and many of them here are actually saying that they hope that the documentary flops, that it fails.
These are the guys that didn't want their names added to it, right?
Like 2/3 of the cast.
Like, if you're gonna stick me on this, I don't want my name put on it. I'll do it, but like it sounds like you didn't have any other choice.
Yes.
You know.
Members of the team behind the Melania Trump documentary are hoping the film bombs at the box office, according to a report. Insiders have suggested that the filming of the Brett Ratner-helmed documentary, Melania, was chaos behind the scenes. Part of the problem was getting access to Melania and the Trump family. Well, it's like the president and the first lady, of course. Like that, if you weren't expecting that, I don't know what to tell you. It says, but some issues were caused by Ratner himself, according to Rolling Stone. The film director has not worked on a project since 2014's Hercules and was subject to a number of sexual assault and harassment allegations in 2017. One insider speaking to Rolling Stone said, people were worked really hard, really long hours, highly disorganized, very chaotic. Another added that the shoot wasn't easy money. It was very difficult because of the chaos that was around everything. Usually for a documentary, it's like, oh, follow the subject. Well, it's Melania Trump. With the First Lady and the Secret Service, you can't just do things you usually do. Other members of the production team now regret putting their name on the documentary, with one person saying that they are much more alarmed now than they were a year ago. So I guess a year ago now, we would have been just prior to Trump he took office in January. So he would have just been taking office like right around this time, right? So his second term was unknown to them. And now because of everything, perhaps they didn't understood what they meant by mass deportations and things like that. Or maybe they were just a fan of government bloat and don't like the fact that Doge was a thing for a while. Who knows? Another source who spoke to Rolling Stone suggested almost 2/3 of the crew who worked on the film in New York had requested that their names be pulled for the credits of the documentary. It'd be hilarious if there was like a union rule that said they had to put them there. And I would 100% believe that to be the type of thing a union would have in its bylaws. A third anonymous source who worked on Melania said, I feel a bit uncomfortable with the propaganda element of it, but Brett Ratner was the worst part of working on the project. Another source suggested that they hope the film does not perform well. They said, unfortunately, if it does flop, I would really feel great about it. MGM Studios said they greenlit the project because it would be of interest to the public. A spokesperson told Rolling Stone, we licensed the film for one reason and one reason only, because we think the customers are going to love it. Now, okay, I don't believe that either. Like, I think that you did what all of the other people who run billion-dollar companies do when a new president comes into office. You try to cozy up to them and you want to get things to go their way. I just saw that people were very mad at Tim Cook for going to a premiere of this because he's Tim Cook and it's Apple, and people were like, how can you do this in the midst of all of these ICE raids? But working on the film wasn't easy money, another person said. One Melania member crew said that Ratner was slimy. Melania Trump, while boring, they said, was totally nice. So it's like a backhanded compliment where they're like, oh, yeah, she was nice. She's a whatever. Melania is the Rush Hour director's first film following his assault allegations, but his partnership with Trump has already paid off as the president reportedly had a direct hand in getting his MAGA-friendly buddy, Skydance Paramount CEO David Ellison, to greenlight Ratner's previous sequel, Rush Hour 4. So there you have it. We're now going to get Rush Hour 4.
So he took a dive and did this so that he could complete the saga, is what I'm being told.
He's like, I need to make the 4th movie in this film.
I'm going to have to fall on the gun on this one and recover from the shot. But
Sounds
it's going
like
to be worth
his
it.
hands were tied too then, huh?
Possibly.
It says Ratner was the worst part of working on this project. One person said, well, others were put off by Ratner's reported lack of cleanliness. He left a constant trail of discarded orange peels and gum wrappers.
Who eats oranges with gum?
Well,
I
I'm
think
assuming
it's-
they mean like those didn't happen at the same time. Like he had oranges sometimes, he had gum sometimes, and he was throwing
He was just leaving
wrappers.
caches in places. Okay. It's really weird.
He left them everywhere he went. Others said the director was less than charming. They reached out for comment. Shockingly, they didn't respond, as if anybody actually wants to respond to this. The report includes an anecdote about Ratner eating the grubbiest way possible while crew members were not allowed a meal break.
Come on.
That just
I think
sounds like
that's-
a lawsuit waiting
yeah.
to happen.
I was going to say, that's not legal.
No. Well, okay, so that was one of the things we talked about yesterday. You sent the Safdie brothers story.
Right.
There was a story about them on a previous set where they had like a child actor on a rooftop scene for like 12, like way longer than the 8 hours. It was like till like 1 a.m, and the kid was like crying and wanted to go home. It's not like Hollywood is well known for their proper treatment of others.
Right.
Do you have any interest in watching this?
Yeah, I will watch it. Mostly out of curiosity.
I can't go see it in theaters tomorrow because Ariana Grande told me I have to take the day off.
I was gonna go.
I was totally going to go. I was planning on going.
I was gonna go. I'm sure everybody in the chat was gonna go, but then they were like, you know what? I can't.
Yeah.
I have to protest ICE right now.
I owe it to Miss Grande to stay home tomorrow.
Maybe this is why the celebrities are coming out, because it's more of like, let's boycott Melania.
Yeah. It says, so he was eating in the grubbiest way possible while crew members were not allowed a meal break. One said Ratner was either being a dick or had no awareness whatsoever. Another said he dropped his chewed gum into a coffee cup on her cart and didn't acknowledge my existence. That's actually everything I imagine a Hollywood director or lead actor to be.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why Hollywood is so good at satirizing themselves, because that's exactly what you expect of the director, to treat you, a mere below-the-line worker, like garbage, because many actors and directors are garbage people.
I picture that they just drive around Hollywood all day listening to Larger Than Life from, was that Backstreet Boys all day on just repeat?
They listen to I Want It That Way.
They think that's them.
So we got a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie, who is always our inside source in Hollywood. Says, my Melania source, now uncredited, says she was quite pleasant to work with. Ratner was 180-degree opposite. Well, I mean, that makes perfect sense. So not only was Ratner in trouble for all of those disgusting allegations, sometimes you're not just a bad person in a deviant way. You're actually just a bad person in a perfectly normal way.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're just not good with other people.
The descriptors in all these articles I've read about this basically say that no one had a problem with Melania, which doesn't necessarily mean, oh, hey, working with her was great. They're just saying it wasn't unpleasant. You know, in any way, shape, or form, it was almost neutral working with Melania. But that this guy is just generally sucks, is what I'm getting.
So I've got this other one from the Irish Star. Take of that what you will. I don't know if they are a bastion for truth or honesty, but I found this funny. Melania Trump humiliated as just one person buys a ticket for UK premiere. Now hold on. It sounds bad, but it was like a day's showing on a Friday, so they're trying to get you here with a heavy headline. On Monday, U.S. President Donald Trump shared multiple photos from a VIP-filled screening of his wife's movie Melania, declaring the feature-length film a must-watch and claiming tickets are selling out fast. It would be funnier if Trump was like, it's like a 7 out of 10. Trump's like, look, you know.
He would never.
He's like, I would never lie to you, the American people. My wife's documentary was average at best. I'm not a What if he's like, I'm not a documentary guy? I don't like watching documentaries. Well, that might be true in certain cases. The UK response to director Ratner's affectionate cinematic tribute to the First Lady has been distinctly lukewarm. Cinema chain View premiered Melania at its flagship, is it Islington? location in London at 3:10 on a Friday. Look, I don't know what the work schedules are like over there in London, but I'm assuming most people are working past 3 p.m. Am I wrong? Do they have it made over there? They're done with work by 3 and on their way over to the movie theater? Anybody know? No? Okay. 3:10 on a Friday, attracting just a single ticket buyer. The subsequent 6 p.m. show time showing it performed marginally better, drawing 2 attendees. Upcoming screenings, now here's the point. It's a 25-seat theater. So,
Okay.
you're actually kind of filling it up with one seat there. It's just not a lot of people.
Or they just, snapshot the one ticket and like, see?
Well,
See, it was just the one
Here's
ticket.
the thing: if all 25 of those seats sell, that small venue in that area, at least that part of it, is officially sold out. You can say that.
Like, all Trump should do is just buy the tickets.
So there's a thing.
No, it looked like it was only one ticket. It was actually the opposite. All those seats were taken.
That would be good.
There's a thing that bands do, local bands, where they book a big show a couple months out at a small venue,
Okay.
and maybe it only holds 100, 200 people. They have everybody, 3-4 bands on the bill, all sell tickets. Everybody gets there. Blah 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 blah. Okay, cool. You've sold 150 tickets out of 200, and now you're putting up posts about the show is almost sold out.
It's
The
selling
show
out
is
fast.
almost sold out, selling out fast. Get tickets now while they last. It makes it feel like this shit is burning up. It's on
Yeah.
fire. You gotta get your ticket now. 200 people show up the day of, and it's our sold out show over the weekend. Our sold out show. It's like, all right, cool. Well, what was the venue?
Trump's got the money. He should just buy all the tickets.
Honestly,
He could.
I don't even know why this is in theaters.
Yes, okay, that was the other question I was going to ask. Like, why is it getting a theater release
It should
anyways?
just be straight to Prime.
Yeah. Well, she's like, I'm
Yeah.
not a... She's like,
If they were smart, network like a streaming exclusive.
Well, they probably thought, well, it's the president's wife, so of
Now,
course
here's
it's
the other
gonna do
thing.
well.
This debut, the debut that we're talking about here was happening overseas, right?
Yes.
Well, they pulled it at South Africa.
It's not like you can take a film like this to the Cannes, and like, it did great,
Yeah.
but this seems
So-
like this is supposed to be a domestic movie.
The big
you know?
inside joke with the award shows, with the annoying festivals, is like the pretentious 20-minute standing ovations every movie gets. Doesn't matter what movie it is. It's like, so-and-so got an 8-minute standing ovation. It's like, and then everybody's standing up there. 'cause
Especially if the director or the producer are at the viewing.
it's like a
Yeah.
weird humiliation ritual where everybody has to stand up there and clap. This would get negative standing ovation. It would get sitting spite or sitting hatred rather than standing ovation. So I mean I was surprised that they made this anyways. I would have rather they just waited till after like he was out of office for the second term to make something like this. But it does feel like propaganda to me.
Do you think the first lady's going to hype up the premiere? Is she going to show up like red carpet service at like that like Chinese theater in LA or like
What was the movie? I forget. It was Jared Leto showed up at like a premiere for, it wasn't Tron. I forget what it was. He showed up at a premiere. Maybe it was Tron. He showed up at like a premiere where they did this thing that was supposed to be viral, where he shows up to his own like to a 8 p.m. showing of a movie of his, and there's nobody there.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
With this is like she's going to show up and be like, or is it going to be the opposite where it says no one shows up for the movie on preview day or on premiere day, including the first lady.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't buy a ticket. She doesn't make it publicly known that she's going to support her own movie day one.
Well, there has to be a premiere, but it's tomorrow, right?
Right.
So I guess we'll find out
So
tomorrow.
it's like we'll see if she actually leaves the White House for this momentous occasion in her life.
All right. We got another 20 from Pop Culture Junkie, again adding to the inside info. If you want to see how bad Ratner is, look through his IMDb and track how few people have worked with him more than once. Always a bad sign. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like if nobody sticks around to work with you a second time, it means that you are likely very, very difficult to deal with. So they're like, maybe even if you got offered another chance to work with him, you're like, life's too short. I'm not doing that. All right. Guys, we've got more stuff to get into today. So you sent me the story earlier about Spencer Pratt. If you guys don't know who Spencer Pratt is, didn't you watch The Hills growing up? Maybe you didn't.
I tried not to.
Yeah,
he
if you're
was-
a millennial, you probably know The Hills or Laguna Beach.
So he is running for mayor of Los Angeles. He's running on the platform that Gavin Newsom and everyone, and Karen Bass and everyone in California had let down Los Angeles because of the fire at the Palisades.
His house burned down.
His house burned down. Now he's got a book coming out.
Yep.
And in this book, he details how he once sold a photo of Mary-Kate Olsen because she was dating a friend of his who was like Henry Winkler's kid, the Fonz's kid. He took a photo off this guy's like shrine in his room after they broke up and sold it to a tabloid for like $50,000 so that he could start his career.
Yeah, it sounds very Spencer Pratt.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he was kind of like the villain of The Hills, and it kind of tracks for him. But that was also back then, back in the day. I mean, he was young when that happened. But yeah, he was friends with Max Winkler. And
so is Max Winkler like an actor?
I don't know
It wasn't
him.
I mean, I love Henry. I love the Fonz.
Me too.
But I'd never heard of his son.
No, me either. But it sounds like they were friends. I mean, Spencer Pratt is from Malibu, I believe. So, he's friends with Brody Jenner. He knows all these people. But it sounds like he just saw the pictures and took an opportunity and ran with it.
This is the photo, by the way, if you guys are wondering, for In Touch magazine. It kind of gives me some nostalgia vibes for what it was like back when tabloids were more of a real thing.
Yeah.
When Hollywood felt a little bit more like separate from the real world. Now, because of social media, you get like a firsthand look at what it's like to be a celebrity in Hollywood all the time, and these people live their lives online, whereas back then the covers of tabloid magazines felt like something that gave you access to something that was normally inaccessible, and there was actually a charm to that.
Although Mary-Kate and Ashley are so far gone from like the public eye that if there was another photo to come out, they probably would pay good money for it.
I love that meme that says like the Olsen twins look like one knows how you die and one knows when you die.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Because they look like hippie sorceresses.
Wait, didn't one of their husbands like kill themselves?
I don't know.
Or off themselves or something? Or she found someone in a bathtub?
So
Am I making that up?
What are your thoughts on Spencer Pratt running for office?
I'm a fan of it. I like the guy. He's making his comeback in the year of the Lord 2026, as Brett likes to say.
I do.
I can't remember how I really felt about him back then when he was on the reality show, but I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I think he's standing up for what's right, and I think he's got a lot of positive feedback. I think a lot of people are behind him, so I think it's kind of cool.
I mean, I'm in general, I'm not a fan of like the celebrity politicians in general.
Well, he did go to USC and get a political science background, so at least he's got.
I make the exception for Jesse Ventura because I'm from Minnesota.
Okay.
I mean, Jesse Ventura is kind of nuts now. I mean, he was nuts in a cool way back then. He's not nuts in a cool way now. But for this story, it just makes me think of like the days of actual tabloid journalism where it wasn't done with a cell phone. It was done with a long lens camera. I mean, obviously that's not the case in this case. This is their own private photos that get sold. Do you think it ends up being an issue for him where they're like, well, if you were willing to sell your friend's private, you don't think this is something that get?
No, I think they're just trying to find anything.
These days, for most people, it feels like morals are so divorced from politics on both sides of the aisle. Like none of this would matter.
Well, I mean, he admitted it. He put it in the book, so it's not like he was hiding something and they came out with it.
No, but that doesn't mean that what he did wasn't wienerish as hell.
Well, yeah, I mean,
like
it kind of feels politician behavior. Honestly.
If this was my friend, and he was in my home, and he walked past. I don't have shrines to women that I've dated. Okay, so I'm not gonna. I can't attest to that because that shit's weird. But he walks past this, takes a picture of my girlfriend, starts a book. Or ex-girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, writes a book, releases photos, sells them out of my house. I'm assuming this guy had no prior knowledge that he was going to be doing this. Right?
This is what it says. According to People, Pratt penned that he disassembled Winkler's photo shrine to Olsen, which he described as young love documented in European hotels, Hollywood parties, stolen moments, and sold the fragments to a tabloid for $50,000. Quote, I asked Max if I could take the photo off his wall, for his healing process. And he didn't say no. So I took it. I took that to be yes.
So he misled him.
Yes.
Entirely on his reasons behind why he was actually taking the photos.
He says, here I was, 20 years old, turning my buddy's romantic misery into startup capital. He bragged in the book. Now that's editorializing to say he bragged.
This guy is a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Like, this is not a friend that I would keep. I would have disowned this guy the second this happened. I'm sorry.
It comes back to bite him, though. So he added, less than a week later, there it was, evidence of my entrepreneurial genius staring back at me from the In Touch cover at a gas station. The author noted that a photo of him with Olsen was also published after it was provided to the magazine by another seller. So after he did this to his friend, somebody else did this to him. A shot of Mary-Kate with a constellation of empties. Look at all the empties, and there I was in the background. I wasn't sold. I hadn't sold that frame. Someone else was shopping, and now I wasn't the seller. I was part of the merchandise. My face was now forever linked to Mary-Kate Olsen's supposed wild phase, preserved in grocery store checkout lines across America. In 2008, Olsen revealed on The Late Show with David Letterman that she was not friends with Pratt, revealing that he did not have a good temper and recalling that he would walk off of soccer games in a huff. See, I don't want him to enter like meetings with the Chamber of Commerce and walk off in a huff if he doesn't get his way. I think he needs to stay in there if he gets elected. And
Well, maybe he has changed his ways.
think so? Well, he's got a family now. He's married to he's still married to Heidi Montag. How long have they been married?
Which is interesting because the drama back then. Did you ever watch The Hills, Brandon?
I abstained.
Not your thing?
Most
No.
straight men would say no.
I was skateboarding back in the day. That like would have got my ass kicked by most of my peers if I watched that show.
Well, Spencer Pratt was known as a villain on that show, but he did meet his wife, his current wife, Heidi Montag, on that show. And the drama behind it on the show was that they were not good for each other because she was like this homely, girl, and he was kind of a dick. And they ended up getting married after, I think it was like short-lived too. Like they weren't together for that long, and then they got married. I think
But they're
I'm not
still
sure.
married, which is
but they're
good.
still married even after all of that. People gave them such a hard time. She also had a lot of there was a lot happening back then too, because I'm trying to remember, she got plastic surgery, and it was kind of like the worst plastic surgery anyone can get, which was kind of a big
Botched.
deal back then. Yeah, she was botched, so a lot of people were blaming him for that. And then of course her music career. She came out with a short-lived music career. I don't know if it's short-lived. I don't know.
Some of those songs are still better than some of the garbage that comes out today, in the sense that they were classic pop songs.
Well, like if you like the Paris Hilton songs that came out, it's very similar.
They're not good songs, but they are very much
Poppy.
of the moment.
Yeah.
Is a good way to put it.
So, I mean, he was a villain of that and of that whole show. But hey, look, he's still married to this day, and he sells crystals now. That's like his big thing.
So okay.
Crystals is his thing, aura, all that. If you're into that kind of thing.
This is just the red flags are just piling up here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Crystals is undignified enough for women. Crystals for a man is bordering.
If you're
on-
watching, Mom, turn off the show now, or you will be triggered by Brett. Brett's about to trigger you, Mom.
No, I've already given the women the lashing for their crystal stuff. But a man doing so, that's past red flag behavior
right.
and into crimson.
But
Hang
not
on a second.
necessarily. You could say this is a good business move because he knows that women will buy them.
Now,
oh, so we're going with it's the pro-capitalism angle. Okay,
Oh, definitely.
Only if
definitely.
he's being unscrupulous and he doesn't buy it.
here's the thing. At what point, guys out there with girlfriends, overprotective girlfriends, or mothers in this situation, your girlfriend or your mother hands you a sack of crystals and says, put this in your glove box. It's for protection while you're driving. Are you going to sit there and argue with that woman that crystals have absolutely no effect over anyone's well-being at any given point in time? Or are you just going to shut up and put the crystals in your glove box?
They're not. My mother in this scenario isn't running for public office, so no.
Neither was mine.
I'm not doing that.
But she can be very angry sometimes.
Yeah,
And I like to avoid those situations even in
Look,
my almost 40s now.
look, here's the
I
thing,
put the
though.
damn crystals in the glove box, Brett. They're
It's your
outside.
family. You love them. You do what you have to for family. I understand that, but that does not mean that we encourage the people to join the government and then start relying on crystals to set public policy.
Yeah.
That I can wholeheartedly agree with.
Like that's.
I'm not agreeing that they even do, and of course, obviously, I don't agree that they do shit. I'm
Well,
like,
let's
you're going to
see.
catch me out there praying to them.
Should we put another poll? Gavin Newsom or
Yeah, go ahead.
Spencer Pratt?
Go ahead, do that. Put another poll up. So you'll have to finish the poll that was up there.
Let's just say also 53% says the 1920s was worse.
There you go. I mean, that's
That's
pretty
not too
split.
bad. Yeah,
That's
it's pretty split.
I agree.
I mean, I think there's some recency bias there for some of the people.
Yeah, it's been 100 years.
Look,
Things have changed a little bit.
you got to keep it to yourself if you're one of these politicians. It's kind of in the same vein of them being like, I have a spiritual advisor, and it's not like it's not from your religion. It's just that person who's like the new agey. They come in and give you life advice, kind of like a life coach. You don't want that in a politician. You might want somebody who strictly adheres to faith, because faith requires sacrifice. But just having a spiritual advisor is not the same thing. Just my thoughts on the matter. And I apologize to Brandon's mom. I did not mean to offend you.
She's not watching
I did
anyway.
not mean to offend you. All right.
She's working.
We've got more stuff to get into today, guys. Just as I was getting ready to send Brandon and Alex all the stories here, we had something come up that I felt like we had to talk about. Something that I have suspected for a very long time to be true. It looks like more evidence is coming out. Did you know that William Shakespeare was in fact not a white man? He was in fact, she was in fact, a black Jewish woman.
I think I've heard this before.
So this is not the first time I've heard this story or this theory, but a new book has been written, ladies and gentlemen. I think everybody should go out and buy a copy. That's what I think. It says, the author of a new book about William Shakespeare is claiming that the works of the famed playwright were actually written by a black Jewish woman. The book, The Real Shakespeare, it's Amelia Bassano Willoughby by Irene Coslet, argues that Shakespeare was actually Amelia Bassano, a dark-skinned Jewish woman who was an English poet during the Elizabethan period. The Amazon description for the book, which says it is set to be released on March 30th, I've already got it queued up. I'm buying it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get the audiobook too. Questions if Shakespeare was indeed a white man from Stratford. Quote, debate still rages over the identity of the most beloved, let me put it up on screen here, of the most beloved poet of all time and father of the English-speaking world. The description reads, generations of researchers have tried to dismantle the myth of the Stratford man. Now in this intriguing and well-documented book, Irene Coslet conclusively demonstrates that Shakespeare was not a man, but a woman, a dark-skinned lady of Jewish origin, born into a family of court musicians from Venice, and the mother of the English-speaking world. Her name is Amelia Bassano. According to the description, the conclusions are based in re-examination of often overlooked historical documents. Shrewd, chilling, and profound, the volume offers extensive evidence that Amelia was the author of the canon. The description also said that the book is not just about the debate over whom the writings of Shakespeare should be attributed to, but about the condition of women in the time of Shakespeare that Shakespeare was writing. It explains that feminism was already in existence in Elizabethan and Jacobean times in England. It reveals not only that the Shakespeare was a woman, but also that she defended women. It reintegrates Amelia in the context of the time, for example, by exploring the relationship between Amelia and Queen Elizabeth I. We've been wrong all along.
Does it change your opinion on Shakespeare?
Absolutely.
We're just called Shakespeare,
Absolutely.
they, them. Why, you're not going to read Shakespeare anymore?
DEI back then. Shakespeare, who lived from 1564 to 1616, is perhaps the most famous writer of the English language. His poetry and plays continue to be taught and performed centuries after his death. So the thing that I find interesting about it is stuff like this comes out from time to time, right? People love the idea of going back with what they dub a critical lens and re-examining history and essentially trying to rewrite the world that existed before us with a modern lens. And it's gross most of the time. If it wasn't so funny, I would find it gross, but I do find it funny. But here's the problem. Hollywood also leans into this, and they made the Black Anne Boleyn television series. And right now, currently, we were going to do a video on it. We never did. Dylan Mulvaney is portraying Anne Boleyn in a theater production. And it kind of goes back to our race swap.
Soon to be playing Shakespeare.
Yeah, so I said I don't care about the race swap. The gender swap, however, I don't know about all of that.
Wait. You can't have it one way and not the other, Brett.
Look, most people our age, it's not like we're reading Shakespeare anyways, but it is a problem when people who come from academia seek to go through history and rewrite what was true in the vein of what they believe is helpful to change the existing power structures that we live in today. And that's what this feels like to me. Do you think it's something like that? Do you think there's something nefarious here? Or do you think it's just somebody trying to make a buck?
Someone trying to make a buck.
I think it could be a little bit of both.
I think that's probably the more apt solution, is that somebody wants to rewrite history and make a profit, which, by the way, I appreciate the multitasking.
It'll turn,
doesn't make it right.
If nothing else, it turns heads. Because it's like, wait a minute, what? That was my initial reaction. Wait,
there was
what?
a time, too, when they were saying that William Shakespeare's first name wasn't even William or something. So it's like, man, we're going to do this again.
So there's a whole Wikipedia page to it. It's like the is it Lanier theory of Shakespeare authorship? If I'm pronouncing that last name, if it's Lanier, I apologize. The theory of authorship contends that the English poet Amelia Lanier, which is also Amelia Bassano, is the actual author of at least part of the plays and poems attributed to William Shakespeare, as is the case with dozens of other candidates, suggesting them to be the author of Shakespeare's works. This idea is not accepted by a large majority of Shakespeare scholars.
Well,
yes,
why would it be?
You've made yourself a product of ridicule to be on the cutting edge of Shakespeare conspiracy theory. We should get QAnon on this.
Right. I mean, it almost would make sense that it was a Black Jewish female poet, but you couldn't say that back then.
That's what it was. Is like, because of the existing power structures, because of the way in which society was centered around the white male experience, we have to understand that the voice of Black Jewish women in England in the 1500s was always going to be suppressed,
and because
much like it is being today.
And because it's theater, I'm sure Shakespeare put on the white face and the beard, and
because they are very liberal, as they say, with who can play who in the theater, which is why it's never been a big deal there. Men can play women, women can play men. Why not have that extend to the poet itself?
Let's just say Shakespeare was a they them.
Maybe that's what it was.
There we go.
Maybe that's what it was. See, this is what happens. We've got however many years of postmodernism, and you end up with stuff like this. I know it's funny, but I do think that stuff like this is dangerous, because you never know what type of story like this. Like, you're going to go to Christmas one day or one year, right? And you're going to be talking to a cousin, or an aunt or an uncle, and they're going to be like, actually, did you know that Shakespeare was a Black woman?
That's going to be me when I'm a grandmother. I'll be 80 years old, and my great-grandchild is going to be like, do you know Shakespeare?
Yeah, you know what everyone's going to say to that? Who's Shakespeare?
Yeah, that's true.
We were probably, one of the last generations that had to read it in school?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess modern day, we're going to find out later that the poets of today, it would, perhaps one day they will say that J.K. Rowling was a Asian man. The writer of Harry Potter was an Asian man rather than a white British woman.
And then ultimately, does it matter?
What do you mean?
Whatever we land on here, whatever we decide, Shakespeare is a woman, Shakespeare is a man.
It matters.
It does matter.
It matters. So, like, truth matters. The facts matter, and especially when you talk about the idea of changing, like, retroactively changing history to suit modern political ideology or modern ideological interests. It does matter, because that's where we've gotten to the breakdown in society now, where now you live with terms like my truth or our truth. So you're talking with somebody, you're like, well, actually, I've been to Shakespeare's grave. We have a super chat here from Shane H. Wilder who says, as a Shakespeare fan who has visited his grave and home, I assure you he was a dude.
Did you
see him?
Yeah, did you see him?
But that's the argument they're going to make. They're like, oh, were you there?
Yeah, were you there?
Were you there?
Well, I think we just have to dig up the bones.
And eventually, well, yeah, I mean, they would reject that too, because
the bones aren't going to have a dick.
But you can.
No,
we're gonna have to do some serious
There's skeletal differences.
Well, yeah, obviously. I'm just saying it's gonna require medical examination. Just dig up the bones and
I'm gonna hire an anthropologist to dig up William Shakespeare's bones to prove it and own the libs, and then find out that we were wrong. It was a woman all along. Mm-hmm. But
I mean, is DNA gonna trace back far enough to actually prove that this man's name was William Shakespeare and that he did, while he was alive, in fact, write all of this stuff that has been accredited to William Shakespeare, not this.
Here's the problem, though. Even
woman?
having to have this type of debate about something in the real world that should just be understood as truth, something that's been one of the bedrocks for Western civilization, for language, for how we speak to one another, aspects that have gone into creating art that has meant so much to so many people.
He's getting emotional.
The truth of this stuff does matter.
No, I agree. I do agree.
No, I'm with you.
But I think we just have to dig up the bones.
But then again, if we were wrong, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The fact that the discussion has gone to, okay, we've got to dig up this guy's dead body.
Well, if you want the truth.
But the fact that it hasn't, we can't go off the word of what has already happened historically. Like, they buried this guy. You know, at least you'd like to think.
They
Now we're all
buried
questioning it.
They
All
buried
of a sudden, it's a conspiracy, Alex. That's all I'm saying. We can officially take this upstairs right now and do 2 hours on this because this is now fallen into conspiracy territory,
Yeah, you
which is
have
what
the
we
inverted
cover.
world team here.
I mean,
today.
that's why I wanted to talk about this. I was assuming you guys would have heard some conspiracy like
I
this.
haven't caught this yet, which is why now I'm over here going down the rabbit hole because I'm like, hang on a second.
See, here's the thing. If somebody does this, if they're like, okay, so you're at the dinner table, right? It's Christmas. Everybody's eating. What do you guys eat at Christmas? You guys have ham?
Sure.
I'm not a ham person.
I mean, no.
You're eating Christmas ham with your whole family, and you're in your first year, and your cousin or your niece, first year at college, comes in. She's actually, Shakespeare was a black woman, a black Jewish woman. No, then you say, actually, Shakespeare was a gray alien, and then they say like, no, that's absurd. That's a conspiracy theory. And then you're like, look, I've got all this evidence. And you show whatever conspiracy theory you have, and you have just as much evidence for that as they have of their theory, and you shut it down.
And you know where this goes? Dig up the bones.
Yep. And then eventually, you've got the huge round head like an actual alien.
Well,
it's
if you
like,
look
well,
at Shakespeare-
actually, William Shakespeare, well, that's just tiny organisms
If
that
you
live
go to
inside your
that-
bloodstream.
Go to that article. Look at the picture of William Shakespeare. He's kind of got an alien-shaped head here.
Like it, so yeah. So also they're like maybe the painting, maybe whoever the painter was just predisposed to writing male to painting with a bend towards male traits because of all the misogyny that was going on back then.
Exactly.
I mean, I could definitely say that there's a possibility there that because of just the scrutiny back then for everything, ins and outs and goings of racism at the time, maybe he worked out a deal with this chick. Like, hey, you can put out all your stuff. You can put it out under my name. I'll take the fame and a lot of the glory for it, but your stuff will get out there.
So there's actually a storyline. Somebody in the chat will know what I'm talking about because I've talked about the show a lot. There's a show that was on the Sci-Fi channel, I think it was Sci-Fi many years ago, called Warehouse 13. And it was a show that had, basically it told a sci-fi rewrite of American history in a lot of ways.
You just made my head explode because I just remembered that show, and I
Yes.
feel like I used to watch that a lot.
It was great. So basically, there's all these artifacts that are in this warehouse that are parts of American history that have been imbued with magical powers because of, like, Henry Ford's first motor or something like that. And there's actually a character that comes up where that you find out that H.G. Wells is a woman. In the show is a woman, and let her brother be H.G. Wells to the public because back then women wouldn't have been allowed to be authors or scientists or anything like that. So hey, maybe those people who wrote that character knew something about William Shakespeare that the rest of us didn't. There's a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie says, there is a significant amount of contemporaneous evidence, primarily from the late 16th and early 17th centuries, that directly links William Shakespeare of Stratford-upon-Avon to the plays and poems attributed to him.
You mean a plentitude?
A plentitude! Exactly.
Which is just another spelling of plenitude. You were right. But they, for some reason, have to throw the T in there and have it mean the same thing. So.
Yeah. I look at all of this and I think that this is why academia is one of those things that so many people find to be absurd these days. It's like you spend your days worrying about this, but it does matter because they do want to assault the idea of truth and the foundational elements of our civilization that goes all the way back to the things that taught us that contributed to the way we talk and to the art that we create. How many movies and televisions shows still come out that are based around the idea of William Shakespeare?
No, and I think when it comes to shutting shit like this down, it is important. Yeah. Like, it definitely comes to, like, okay, this sucks that we have to get to this, but to prove what we know as historical fact, maybe we need to go that extra length for all of, these people that just weren't around back then or don't understand, or aren't able to just accept facts.
Yeah. It
sucks, but...
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It makes me laugh though because I would getting into a debate with somebody about this would just it would blow my mind. It would blow my mind. Like how far down the rabbit hole you have to go to end up here. All right, guys, we are going to go to super chats, which of course means that we are going to get to each and every one of them. I do want to get us to a second crisis party, but we did get one, and you will be hearing that momentarily. It's absolutely going to. I hope the speakers.
Oh, you've been
work.
holding out
Yes.
on us?
No. I mean, yes. It's so much easier with the headphones on. Okay. I want to get a second one, guys. Hopefully it works. So sometimes this thing, it acts up and then it restarts, but It's like police sirens right now.
I like it.
Yeah. Hold, please.
I feel like I'm being pulled over.
Doesn't it? It does.
It's like, this is the part in like I look up and I'm like, oh shit.
Do I have my insurance on me?
I've always got that. It's just that initial shock of seeing the cherries in the rearview mirror and you're like, oh fuck.
Yep.
Here we go.
Shane H. Wilder, thanks for the super chat. Shane says, "Happy Thursday, Brett, Alex, and Brandon. So Will Trent is trying to be 2000s woke and did a Me Too storyline in 2026. It's unk woke." Yeah, bro, I tried. So you guys know that I am still a fan of the old school police procedural. I have not picked up the second half of High Potential Season 2, which is the best show I've seen in the last couple of years, which proves that the formula still works. I tried to watch Will Trent like 3 times, and every time I found so many of the characters so unbelievably annoying, I had to turn it off.
I haven't even heard of this show.
It's like a network television procedural. It's right up my like. It's one of those ones where I keep trying it because theoretically it's right up my alley, and I should like. Has there ever been a movie or a show like that where everything about it seems like it's for you, but you just don't like it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Like that's how, so a lot of these procedurals that I loved growing up that were made in a different time, that's still a formula that's used on television today. And most of the ones that they try to do now just don't work. Like, for instance, another one is Tracker with Justin Hartley. Tried it, and I'm like, oh, everybody's so fucking annoying.
I guess like Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of those kinds of shows.
The show that I mentioned, High Potential, stars Caitlin Olsen, who's from Always Sunny.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those shows I feel like I should love it, but I don't know. Anyway,
well,
it's an old
it's
show.
like
It doesn't matter.
the Lord of the Rings like spin-off show on Amazon.
I mean, that's not your fault for not liking it.
No.
You're normal.
You know, like it was like that just had so much potential, you know. It's like these extra spin-off shows. Now, House of the Dragon, pretty damn good. You know, not Game of Thrones, but still pretty damn good. Follows the same lore, everything like that.
I don't think you can remake it. You can't recapture the magic of what it was like to have HBO Go back in 2013 to watch. Like I was never a Game of Thrones person. At that time, I was living in Minneapolis and had a friend, and it was appointment television every week. So I watched it with them.
Every week.
But it wasn't my thing. But like, you can't recapture that aura that existed at that time.
We had what we called Steak and Thrones. Which is where every single Sunday everybody would come over to my house.
Okay.
We all cook steaks.
Oh boy.
And we sit there and we watch the new episode of Game of Thrones
while you
together.
rubbed your crystals, Brandon.
I'm gonna throw my crystals at you, Alex. Is what's gonna happen, and we'll see if it's good luck.
What if like Ian walked in and was like, "Did somebody say crystals?"
Yeah. I honestly feel like he would float in,
yes,
like just in like that chakra position,
yeah,
like just like
he would like actually he would transport through the ceiling.
Yeah, made out of graphene.
But a Me Too storyline in 2026 is, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Brian Bledsoe says, off topic, but have been wanting to ask, can you give an example of the difference of color grading in the 80s or 90s movies to now? I think I see it, but I'm not sure about it. What I'm going to do...
I think it's just
Do you
filmed.
mean actual color grading, or are we talking race here?
No,
but
color,
probably
like the actual color.
filmed
Okay.
on film, though, versus digital. That
So-
could be it.
I'm going to give you an example of a show that I like that has garbage color grading. There's a show which actually has a season 2 coming out very soon called Paradise with Sterling K. Brown. First season was fantastic. This shit, this washed out, drab, blue and gray bullshit is everywhere on streaming shows now. If you go look, so I did a video, I think it came out today, about why, like, there's fans trying to bring back the NCIS spinoff Tony and Ziva, and I said, no, you should let it die because it was garbage as a show, it was garbage as a story, it was garbage in writing, it changed the tone, but more than anything, it was fucking gray, it was boring, it was washed out, there was no real light. It's like they have this ability now when they shoot on film and they shoot raw, they can literally put any fucking color they want there, and they just drop grays and blues and it looks like shit.
So like,
and I
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker,
yes,
the first one, has that whole gray overtone the entire movie to really depress the viewer because the entire story is depressing to begin with.
And I just grabbed a random still from Deja Vu by Tony Scott in 2006. The darks, like the dark tones, the shadows, the way that the brown separates itself from her hair and her skin tone and her white shirt. Right now, if you were to look at that now, that cabinet in the back would look gray. It would be flecked with white because it would have because it wouldn't be opaque. It'd be half opaque. And then the light on her face would look like one color. You wouldn't get any key light. And it would look like garbage. And that's the way everything looks like now. Look at the way The Matrix looked in 2001 with its dark blacks and greens. And then look at what they did with the 2021 Matrix movie, where it's just the same bullshit the other do. And that's the other thing. It's either blown, like washed out, or it's the same yellow and blue complementary color scheme for everything. Yes, it makes sense artistically on a piece of paper because they are complementary colors. But grading a color for a movie isn't just about whether the colors complement one another. It's about whether the color grading tells a story along with the film. Go look at the old posts I made. Just find my X account and look up CSI Miami and look at some of the still images from a fucking 2002 police procedural, and you will not see color grading like that in movies these days, let alone on TV.
And like the color ratios in like, I'm assuming you've seen Loki.
Yes. Well, I saw part of the first season.
The color scheme in the first season alone is pretty amazing. Like it doesn't,
but even Marvel is guilty of washing their stuff out now. Like Wonder Man was great, but it wasn't a Marvel as far as its color scheme or its production. If anything, it looked too dark.
Like Ragnarok was super, super vibrant.
Well, you could also, even networks have their certain colors. Like Netflix, when you're watching a Netflix show, it's almost like Netflix says, okay, you can do a show with us, but this is the color grade you have to have.
Well, it's what happens with the Russo brothers once they got their contract with Netflix. Everything's gray. Everything's, it's just gross.
HBO's the same way. It's like no light.
Yeah. Well, with a lot of that stuff happening in New York, too, they wanted to add that dirty, grungy, cloudy side.
Or perhaps we could just blame Adobe Premiere for coming out with all of these options.
I mean, they're not likely editing on
probably. Yeah, they probably are Premiere or even Avid or whatever.
Avid, maybe.
Well, but any of these editing programs, they're going to give you 1,000 options to change the color.
But the thing is, they're not picking good ones. They're picking boring ones.
Well, because they're all just copying each other.
It's so gross. It's just I can't stand it.
Yeah,
it's the worst thing
I'm
ever.
with you.
That's my rant. Unfortunately, I don't have. I wish I had those examples of. I found one of them, and it was. This is just a random person posted these pictures of Leighton Meester when she was on CSI Miami. And you look at the way the blues are lit in the background, the way the key light hits her, the fill light hits her hair there. Everything, the focus in that,
it's like a backlight.
They put a lot of window panels and glass between them and stuff to add depth to the layers and stuff like that. Now they were able to do that because they were working in sets back then that were designed to be used repeatedly, but tell the same time of day. They told all those stories during the day. They weren't grading for color at night and stuff like that. But just my own complaints on stuff like that. I just think most of it today, it's not inspiring in any way, would be the best way of explaining it. Is it just doesn't actually inspire you to want to watch more. It just feels empty to me. All right. Shane H. Wilder says, well, we haven't had a major stock market crash and a dust bowl yet, but we still have a few years left.
Or the Spanish flu. Well, we kind of did with COVID.
We're waiting on that.
Yeah, our Great Depression is actual depression.
Yeah.
Everyone's just actually depressed.
Everyone's sad.
Waiting for food at the soup kitchen, but we're pretty depressed.
Makes sense to me.
As a whole.
All right. I got some more
it's
here.
The millennial way.
Marty, Chief Coriander. No, I'm sorry. Brian Bledsoe says, Brett, will you see Glenn Powell's A24 movie? No, I will not.
He's coming out with an A24 movie?
That's what sounds like he's saying. And
whoops.
No, I will not.
Why? You're that anti-A24?
Yes, I am.
Oh, come on.
I will not do it. You can't make me.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for Melania debuting in theaters tomorrow.
You should go see it.
I want to, but my loyalties lie to Ariana Grande. I have to stay home.
It looks like it's How to Make a Killing. It's a black comedy thriller.
Okay. I mean, look, I'm not like a Glenn Powell stan by any sense of the imagination, but I do like him a lot.
I don't.
All right. Wait, why?
He's boring.
He's boring?
He's no Tom Cruise.
Well,
that's what they're trying to make him.
How many people are?
I know, but that's what they're trying. I mean, who's the movie star now? You know.
All right. Chief Corey Anderson says, Marty Supreme is still a stupid title. All involved in the movie should be arrested and never let out.
Wrong. It's a great movie, and the title makes perfect sense.
Wait, explain it to people. Why?
Well, his name is Marty, but he's supreme at the sport that he's playing. He is the supreme.
Okay.
So Marty Supreme makes sense. You gotta see it.
I mean, what makes a good title for a movie? Like, how do you get across the point?
Do you have to get the point across in a title?
I mean, it should be engaging.
Marty Supreme isn't engaging?
Well, there's ways to name things for social aesthetics, right? For like getting hits and ads and searches and stuff like that on the internet. There's ways to word titles and stuff that play on the story that you're actually telling, you know. Or then there's this other way, you know, like people do it a lot with music where like, hey, like we're going to write this song and whatever the catchiest part of this is in the chorus or whatever this is or what we're writing about, we're just going to name the song that because
Streets
that's what
in
people are going to
Streets
search.
in Minneapolis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Surprised he didn't name the song like Pretty. Alex.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty good.
no, but
Pretty good.
he did go as far as to put Pretty and Good's name
in
directly in the song. He
I was
uses their
surprised
whole
by that.
names.
I was surprised.
And
by
I'm
that.
like, is that legal for him to do? Can he do that?
I mean, I don't see like how can they prevent him from using their name? Like,
I mean, yeah, like I get it. Like people, you know, often cite other people, you know, artists, things like that in their songs, and I don't think they have to pay royalties to these people. But like, I don't know, kind of cringe, you know.
Here was another example. I knew there was another tweet I was talking about when talking about color grading. I never saw the show Rogue. It was it's on streaming. I didn't actually finish it, but I was looking at these shots of the lighting in this series along with Drive, and this was like the last time we saw. Instead of doing blue yellow or blue orange, they did green orange for their aesthetics for the show, which I really liked for it. Again, look at the lighting here. It's just more depth than what you're seeing with stuff that's coming out today. And that show was from like 2013 or something like that. It's a good one. It was a lot of fun. All right. Man Bear Cow TV says, Rush Hour 4. Do you still not understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yep.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Throwback.
All right. Greg Duvier says, Brett, if they made a movie about you, the only thing that they would swap is going from inline skating to a skateboarder, worse than a race swap. I said, no, they can do that, but they can't skate parks. They can only skate street. I will not be turned into a park skater. Ledges and rails only. I'm not a bitch.
Ooh. Shade thrown, but I also understand entirely.
Like me and you are the only ones who will understand that.
Yeah.
And I've gone from the transition of like die hard street skater for my entire life to like now I'm like this cultured park skater because we have our own skate park here. We're like super spoiled.
I do the park in the winter just for the sake of the, you know.
So, yeah, not freezing your ass off and
it's-
trying to get some stuff done, you know.
I still like, so actually it's a misnomer. Like other than the cold part about it, skating street in the winter, like handrails in the winter was actually a lot of fun because falling in snow is a lot less dangerous than falling in.
Sure, but hitting that concrete at like a bitter 10 degrees as opposed to hitting that concrete when it's about 75.
Especially
if
you hit like an elbow or like a ligament or something.
Yeah,
like
or you
that.
land
Not
on
fun.
ice. And my guys that play hockey probably know this. When you fall on ice, as opposed to falling on concrete, it almost feels like ice hits harder than concrete does.
Yep.
Concrete's more abrasive and it'll take layers off your skin, but ice will kick your ass, and that's not a joke towards immigration enforcement. But
It is now.
whoops, zinga.
All right, let me see here.
Incubus does kick ass. I agree, JP.
Shane H. Wilder says, I met Henry Winkler in high school. He had a speaking engagement and stayed at a friend of mine's house. He was very nice. Bro wasn't staying in a hotel. Bro was like, you know what? I got to save the money. Stay with a friend in town. It's kind of frugal of him.
Fiscal responsible decisions do not trend.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't shame the man for saving a buck. That's okay.
that's bullshit.
It's okay.
I'm offended.
All right. Isabella Live says, hippie sorceresses, today's secret word.
Talking about the Olsons.
Must be, yeah. Like I said, that meme. That's the only thing I remember of the Olsen twins recently is the thing. It says like one of them looks like they know how you die and the other one looks like they know when you die. Because they do look weird.
Does that mean the third one actually kills you? Would that be
No,
Elizabeth?
she's
Okay.
not weird.
I don't know.
She's kind of normal.
It actually kind of pisses me off that we didn't get Elizabeth Olsen sooner.
Yeah.
because she's really like the best one.
She is, I mean, she seems to be the most consistent of them, at least as far as working goes.
Yeah.
Since the other two don't work anymore. They have they have a makeup company? They've got like
no,
a
I think
fashion
it's
brand?
fashion line.
Yeah. Shockingly enough, I don't know the answer. I didn't know that. All right. Punisher 5150. Have you been sent to the asylum? Jesse Ventura wants Michigan to secede and become part of Canada. I know, that's why I prefaced my statement and said Jesse Ventura has fallen from grace in many ways. This is true. All right. Shane H. Wilder says the only man allowed to have crystals is Ian. I give Ian the pass. Ian's allowed. Let Ian do that. Shane H. Wilder says, oh, I read that one. Thanks, Shane. He also says, the school he went to still stands, and we have Shakespeare's school records. He also has living descendants. Well, you know what? Those school records were written at a time of deep misogyny and hatred for women, so maybe they just didn't want to see her succeed. Wilhelmina Shakespeare succeed, and decided to put her down as a man instead. Maybe that's what happened. All right. Shane H. Wilder says, bacon. Does anybody else here smell bacon? Yes, I definitely smell a pork product of some sort.
Yeah, you know,
World
pig,
reference.
pig, cop, cop. Very funny. Yeah.
I used to say that to cops when I was your age. Shane H. Wilder says, it is like they forgot that when they film on a log, they have to actually edit it. They also forgot how to light a set. Yeah, I mean, so much of that now is like you can fix it in post, which of course makes the process more lengthy and makes especially the CGI shots look less deliberate, where it feels like you're looking at slop against a screen rather than something that was added and then the CGI was like filmed in an actual physical environment that wasn't a blue screen, and then composited in later. Go watch, you guys who've watched the channel for a long time know, go watch The Creator, the Gareth Edwards movie from 2023. That was a great modern use of CGI in that film. Alejandro Reyes says, no idea what you talked about this session, but I'll enjoy it later. Thank you.
Fair enough.
You should enjoy it later.
I'd like to go back to this Mary Kate and Ashley thing for 1 second, because it's been bothering me.
Okay.
So it was when Heath Ledger died. I think Mary Kate was one of the first people called when that happened.
Well, also, wasn't there a story about like somebody who had provided him with like the pain pills he had or something like that? I forget.
I don't know, but I knew one of them was connected to like, I guess it's his death. So.
And then Chief Corey Anderson says Timothée Chalamet is a horrible human. I heard he drop kicks babies.
What?
I'm guessing that's not true, but that's just me. Here's
I don't
another.
see it.
So I found this is another example. This is the picture that I was looking to earlier, guys, when I was talking about color grading. This is an example from CSI of what these locations looked like. You know, when you just take a picture with it with like a digital camera, and then what it looked like on the top once it was edited and color graded by the studio. It's just got so much more color, so much more depth. The colors are richer. Like they literally just put red in there, and it works.
Yeah.
And even the little tricks like this that you don't see they use anymore. What do you notice in this photo here? One of the things you do is you wet down the ground because it makes it more cinematic. It gives you reflections. They don't even do that anymore. And that's like film school 101.
Like literally look at any movie, you know, where you're not doing like a daytime shot. If you're anywhere at night, the streets are wet.
Correct.
Cars are driving, they're splashing. You can hear cars driving. Like it's a known. It is known.
And then this was the other one. Just look at the tones in the background. You see greens, you see blues, you see grays. It was just better. In my humble opinion, it was just better.
Yeah, it looks like the sun's, going down.
Well, it's Miami. It's like the point. They know that the story is set in Miami, so they have a tone that they need to convey to you.
We got to have the most beautiful sunsets constantly happening.
And if this is being done in 2002 on a networked, well, I guess those were later seasons, on a network television show, they've mastered this technique for a long time. They should be able to do that now when they have the budgets. The amount of money they dump into these streaming shows should ensure better visuals than what we're getting for them.
Yeah.
But that is just...
when the CGI is noticeable now, that's my only problem with 4K is just how noticeable sometimes now just the pumping of these backgrounds are, and it's just like, God, you guys couldn't just walk outside and just do the shot outside.
Yeah. Well, I mean, permits and the inability to control the conditions.
Audio
they're
mixing,
not as,
cutting, all of that. It is more work. It's more expensive. I get it.
Yep.
But the quality is better.
Yep.
Is that not what we're going for, or have we just completely turned away from quality movies to bullshit?
I mean,
now for money?
obviously.
I mean, that's one of the things I liked about Wonder Man is because it's not inherently a superhero show with tons of fighting, is they pretty much spent the whole show in practical locations around Los Angeles. And for once, Los Angeles not being disguised as something else, which is what it usually is, right? Usually they're pretending to be somewhere else.
A homeless habitat.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of LA, that poll that we put up, 91% are going to vote for Spencer Pratt.
Ah, okay. All right. Let me just double check, make sure I got everything over on Rumble.
You know, I've actually got a question for you guys here
Go for it.
that I think could fill some time. Do you think that Hollywood marriages, in specificity, like we talked about the Sydney Sweeney situation earlier, do you think some of these marriages are kind of business arranged?
Yes, of course.
To a sense to where a deal is made, even if not at like a nuptial or prenuptial, what have you, where it's like, okay, cool, you guys get married, you stay married for 4 or 5 years, and at the end, we'll talk about a predetermined, amount of money that you guys can split in the divorce, and you can go on your own way.
Like Kim and Kanye?
I mean, they do that with politicians. That's been
Yeah.
a thing for as long as politics has existed. They don't marry for love. They marry for access to another wealthy family.
Which,
or
and I could
somebody-
see in like the king and queen days, like marrying bloodlines and stuff like that.
Well, it's
major
also
deal.
kind of falls in the line of what you guys have been talking a lot about are like Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. Even though they have, Margot Robbie's married, they go on these press tours and they pretend like they're so in love with each other.
Well, they tried to do that with Liam Neeson
Right.
and
Pamela
Pamela Anderson.
Anderson.
Yeah.
They're like, look at this aging grandma love story.
Yeah. And it's like, how many of these marriages, how many of these people are actually going home and are husband and wife at home instead of going back to their own respective mansions and only meeting in public for the
I'm
public
sure
eye
that
to see?
happens a lot. I mean, and if you're talking about Hollywood, you're talking about a lot of gays.
You're talking you mean like they're actually married to somebody else but pretending to be married to some,
Publicly. Yeah.
I mean,
public marriage for the sake
Like a
of
lavender marriage.
transparency.
well, then we're not talking about them being married to somebody else because that would be public record, and then like you can't pretend to be in a relationship with one
Well,
person
I mean,
while you're
however they
married to
decide to
another
how to,
person. But you could be theoretically in a
maybe
like-
you're not lawfully married.
Yeah.
Other than to this celebrity that you've been paired with or that you've decided to enter this kind of business agreement with for X amount of time, but you're with somebody on the side still and just not appearing publicly with them.
That's like Tom Cruise's whole life.
Well, that's the Scientology, right?
Yikes.
Don't come after me.
I mean,
He
they're-
said it. He used the S word.
You 10 years with Nicole Kidman, 10 years with Katie Holmes. I mean, there's a pattern here.
That's what
I'm not
that's
sure if
what I
it's actually
mean.
I'm just
And then
saying.
these divorces end up being like a mutual, like, hey, we're
Yeah.
gonna split ways. You take this amount of money, I take this amount of money. It was a success. See you later.
we
Have
had
a great
kid,
life.
We did the thing.
I've got another
That's
marriage I've got to
depressing.
get on to.
It's like
life, man.
It's like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's basically leasing them
Yeah,
for
Yeah.
He's got a 4-year lease and then he lets them go.
exactly.
Yeah.
All for money.
Yes,
An image.
an image. I think it's more for image, honestly.
That's
At least
depressing.
it depends on the situation.
I mean, it was really interesting the stuff about Jacob Elordi yesterday, just because her husband, Margot Robbie's husband's a producer on the movie, and they're leaking these very clearly planned, staged, they were
I don't know.
codependent on the movie.
I mean, they're actors. I can, being from the acting world, I can understand what people kind of not falling in love, but having this mutual bond, and
but
that's hard to ignore.
But they were he sent her flowers on it was very clearly staged for the sake of the publicity because the movie is coming out. It would have been more believable if it wasn't immediately as the press tour kicked off.
Right.
For the film. And the same thing was true of Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson. It was all during the press tour that these stories started coming out. So it's this reeks of some publicist writing this and then leaking it to one of the tabloids.
That was also happening with who's the actor that everyone's like, oh, he's a psyop. He's in everything. He's in the Marvel movies, not Avengers. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. Hold on, I'll tell you.
There's so many of them.
I'll tell you.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
I was like, I'm
What's the
thinking she's
superhero
getting to
movie she's
Pedro, but I
in?
can't
He's
tell.
in Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah.
But there was that whole thing too, right? The woman, she was even pregnant, and they were cozying up with each other.
I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, Vanessa Kirby. Yes. I mean, Pedro Pascal, he's not a psyop. He's been around for. There's a bias that people have where if you like learn of somebody and then all of a sudden you hear about them a ton, you think that suddenly they just appeared there.
Well, dude, I think I know what she's getting at though, because publicly when they were doing their tours for the preview of the movie,
no, I know that
they were super like Vanessa Kirby was super lovey-dovey.
I was more my point was more about the fact that he didn't just appear out of nowhere. He's been acting since like the 90s.
Yeah,
but yes, no,
yeah.
And then there was the meme that was being made because he's like he gets nervous, so he's got to touch people. It's like, why is he always touching the women?
I mean, he's Spanish, so it kind of makes sense.
Why is he always touching the conventionally attractive co-leads in these movies? Why does Bella Ramsey never get touched when he's nervous?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's a question to ask. All right. Guys, before we go, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. Would you please hit the like button on this episode and subscribe to the channel, perhaps, if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. I do want to remind you that if you don't plan to watch Wonder Man, you can watch my review of it. That will be coming out tonight at 7 p.m. Or even if you are planning to watch it, I don't believe there are any real spoilers in there, and I had a lot of stuff to say on it, so you should go and check that out right here on the channel, 7 p.m. tonight. Alex, where can they find you?
I am Alex Ayala. You can find me at I am Alex Ayala on X, and it's always great to be here. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Thank you. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Brando Inverted on Insta and on X. Thank you for having me. And you can also check out a new podcast I'm doing called The Skateboard Podcast, which should be on Rumble and I think on YouTube as well. Our first episode is up, and we should be hopefully taping some more soon. So thanks for having me, Brett. See you guys next time.
You guys want to follow me? I am on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help us out. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.